Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk on a Monday. Welcome back from the weekend. So glad you're with us. We've got 3 hours of 580 Sports Talk coming your way on the sports voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9 and online at 580WIBW.com. Also, hello to everyone watching our video stream on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski rocking with you. Spencer Dupuis will be along later on. Gang will all be here. We've got 3 hours of sports talk and then 2 hours of overtime before Royals baseball. That's a lie. We're not doing that. We're not going to do that.
No commercials. 2 hours commercial-free overtime.
No, we are not doing that. But,
finally, I can air my political agenda.
Put on a pot of coffee for Royals baseball tonight. I'm used to this. Right, I've been cross-training for a West Coast trip for the Royals, even though this is only 3-game jaunt out to San Francisco. But I've been cross-training for this. I've been up late with the NHL and the NBA playoffs for the last month and change. I'm ready for an 8:45 Central Time first pitch tonight by the Bay as the Royals open their series against the San Francisco Giants. Good matchup of lefties tonight, Bubic and Ray.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of fun this evening. I love late baseball. This is what I live for. The downside of more teams having 6:40 first pitches Central Time and games going by more quickly is it gets to 9:30 and I think I don't have anything to watch. Yeah. And I'm going to be up for several more hours. I would like to have something to watch.
I miss the games routinely running past midnight Central Time. Used to happen all the time. There would always be baseball on past midnight Central. And I guess always is a bit of a stretch. But like those real late night games. And then, of course, I was in a different stage in my life where I was not married, did not have children. I could stay up and I could watch those games. I remember one night, there was a 13-inning Dodgers-Mariners game. And I was really invested. Like I started watching about the 8th inning. I got invested. And then I wanted a burrito. And so I went to Mexican Taco Shop, and I'm sitting in line. And I had the app up on my phone, MLB app, and I was listening to the Mariners broadcast, I think. This is like 2017, 2018. And I love the late night games. I do. And back when, I used to watch my favorite team play instead of wishing they didn't exist, they play a lot of games on the West Coast. So I'm ready for this. I'm built for this. And if you are too, look forward to some late night baseball tonight. We've got it for you here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9. 8 o'clock pregame coverage on the Royals Baseball Network. That's 8 p.m. and an 8:45 first pitch tonight as the Royals open up this 3-game set against the Giants. They do so coming off a series loss this weekend. Royals have lost 6 of 9, but did salvage the weekend with a 2-1 win yesterday afternoon over the Cardinals. We are going to talk a lot of baseball on today's program. There is a lot to get to. We'll talk about the weekend. The Royals offense, stinky, but they found a way to win a game while the offense was stinky. Kind of been the story of the first 48 games of their season. But we will talk about where they go from here, and do they need to make, even if only in the short term, a lineup shakeup? Because it's really hard to build innings when the middle of your order has been as bad as the Royals' middle of the order has been. And I don't believe that all of a sudden Salvador Perez and Vinny Pasquantino are this far below league average as offensive players permanently. But temporarily, maybe it's time to give Maikel Garcia even more at-bats. Maybe that's part of the solution. We'll talk about what the Royals need to do offensively. Then we're going to talk about what they need to do on the mound because their number 1 and number 2 starting pitchers are on the shelf for the next 14 days at a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Not what you want. Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo both going on the injured list over the weekend. More optimism for Ragans having a swift return than for Lugo, but that could just be because Ragans has actually spoken about his injury, and we haven't really heard from Seth Lugo yet. Still in all, the Royals need to navigate their way through the next 15 days without their 2 best starting pitchers. One thing that'll help, Noah Cameron is good.
Yeah.
Or at least good enough.
Yeah, dude is dealing. He's made history with how good he has been through the first 2 starts of his career. Here's the other thing that will help, and granted, it's not ideal to need to find 2 starters in a pinch, or at least 1. Cameron, even if he, drops down in production, and I assume he will, he's a rookie, he's making his first appearances. That'll happen. Your other three guys that are still healthy, Michael Wacha is in his mid-30s and has been awesome. He's been very, very good. Michael Lorenzen has been one of the best number 5 pitchers in all of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Bubic has been one of the best pitchers in baseball, full stop. He has been an incredible, one of the best stories of any starting pitcher in baseball this year. So that helps, certainly. What are you going to do for that 5th starter? I don't know. We'll talk about that in the 4 o'clock hour, but that is a bit concerning. It is nice, though. You laid it out when we had the off day this past Thursday. You have a couple more Thursdays off next month, June. You had a bunch of Mondays off. So the fact that you're going to go week after week after week with an off day and no more of these 14 games, without an off day kind of stretches, well, that helps you stretch out the starting rotation a little bit.
The hope is that starter number 7, and right now it's an open question as to who that is for the Royals, won't have to make too many starts before both Ragans and Lugo are back healthy in the rotation. And frankly, the injuries that both guys have been dealing with, they need to get right. It wasn't benefiting the Royals to have Ragans and Lugo out there pitching like less than their best. But this is a stretch of the schedule that the Royals are going to navigate without their 2 best starting pitchers, and that's not ideal regardless of who you're playing against to not have those 2 guys up top. We're going to get there. We're also going to talk about the promotion of Jack Caglione from AA to AAA. That occurred over the weekend. Royals being very aggressive with their 2024 first-round pick. And we'll talk about the implications of that. I find it hard to believe that decision and the Royals scoring 6 runs in 3 games this weekend are unrelated. Yeah, let's just say that. So there's lots of Royals to talk about on the program today. And with that in mind, we thought we would bring on a guest to talk some Royals baseball coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Bottom of the 4 o'clock hour, you will hear from a writer from Royals Review, also a recent graduate of the University of Kansas, also a former 580 Sports Talk intern. Our buddy Trenton Kraxner is going to stop by. We had to get him on the record about the Royals' 26 and 22 start to the season, but also as the president and chairman and founder of the Chris Stratton fan club, we had to get his thoughts on the Royals DFAing their worst pitcher yesterday.
Yeah, huge weekend for Trenton. Celebrated a birthday.
That's right.
Graduated. The Royals actually won a game in their series. Chris Stratton gets DFA'd. Yeah, quite a weekend for him.
Yeah, so we'll hear from Trenton. It's always good to hear from Trenton. We're looking forward to having him on the show in the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. He's one of 2 guests we'll have on today. Bottom of the 3 o'clock hour, as we always do on a Monday, Matt Verderame will join us to talk NFL. Matt Verderame covers the league for Sports Illustrated. SI.com has some other podcasts and outlets that you can hear from him. And grateful that he takes some time to chat with us at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour every Monday. We'll ask Matt Verderame about the latest NFL headlines. And we'll talk in the 5 o'clock hour about the Chiefs and days of rest, where they actually fare better than you might think anecdotally. Of course, you remember last year with the Royals having that crucible of their schedule around Christmas where they had 3 games in 11 days. But as it happens, the Chiefs actually do get a fair amount of rest, and relative to their peers, they've gotten a lot of rest in the last 6 seasons and stand to get a decent amount of rest relative to some of their second half opponents this season. Why that's important. We'll talk about that coming up later in the show. Plus, all the other things you've come to know and love from a Monday edition of the program. We'll have our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Lots of college baseball to get to in there. With the Big 12 season winding down. We'll do a playoff roundup, of course, in that as well. We got What Is Wrong With You coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We got Good, Bad, Ugly from the weekend that was coming up this hour. Plus your interaction with the show. We want to hear from you. The text line is open, 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429. You can also get at us in the YouTube chat. The YouTube chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, is open. And we want to hear from you, interact with us and your fellow listeners. Good afternoon to Mark H. Paul's in, Tyler, and Vance, and JB. Appreciate you guys being in early with us, and look forward to more of you joining us throughout the show on the YouTube live chat.
Real quick before we start, also want to send best wishes to the fine folks down in Reno County. Know we've got plenty of listeners down in the greater Hutchinson area, down near the air capital as well. Nasty storms last night. Some of the tornado photos, oh my gosh. Man, Greensburg. Thank God that storm missed, because I know y'all have been through a lot in the last couple of decades, and if you're in Plevna and that area, hope you guys are doing okay today as well, because those storms last night were nasty.
Yeah, Grinnell too, out in northwest Kansas. That might be just a hair out of our listening range, but some awful scenes from out northwest Kansas last night. The town of Grinnell took a direct hit from a tornado, and there is a chance for more severe weather today. We'll keep you up to date here should the need arise. If there are severe warnings, I'm on the weather desk tonight, so hopefully you don't have to hear much from me tonight, but or anybody on the from the Capitol Federal Weather Center updating you on severe weather. But do be on your toes again tonight if you're within the sounds of our voices. We will keep you up to date here on 580 WIBW. Let's jump into some baseball, shall we? Two ways to look at this, I suppose. Glass half full, glass half empty. Royals scored 2 runs per game over the weekend. Generally speaking, you don't win a lot of baseball games with 2 runs. You're kind of lucky to get 1 win in a stretch where you only score 2 runs per game. That being said, it's kind of who the Royals have been all season long, and if not for 2 outstanding defensive plays by Brendan Donovan in the 8th inning on Saturday, they probably win that game, because they did hold the Cardinals to just 1 run over 9 innings. They probably win that game and they win the series. So you're lucky to get 1. You're also unlucky to only get 1, but that's the finely poised place where the Royals find themselves right now, 48 games into this season, where the offense has just not coalesced. This is an outstanding stat from friend of the program, Craig Brown. The Royals have scored exactly 2 runs 9 times this season after yesterday.
Yeah.
Principal Rooney, 9 times. 9 times they've scored exactly 2 runs in the game. The Royals are 6-3 in those 9 games. They've won 2/3 of the games where they've scored exactly 2 runs. In all of Major League Baseball, teams are 47-174 when they score 2 runs. So if you are a Major League Baseball team, you can expect to win 20% of the time. Less than that even, fractionally, but less than that. 20% of the time that you score exactly 2 runs. Unless you're the Royals and you're playing at a 108 win pace when you score exactly 2 runs. That is who this team is. That sums them up perfectly. The pitching has been so good, and the offense has been so bad. And it's been so bad that I think it's probably time to think about a lineup shakeup. And I don't know that it has to be permanent. I also don't think it needs to be, hey, guys, let's come to the ballpark, let's get in the clubhouse, and let's draw names out of a hat and figure out what order we're going to bat everybody in. The Royals really have to think about doing something different. Maikel Garcia is the Royals' second best hitter. He batted leadoff yesterday because Jonathan India was still a little banged up from that slide Wilson Contreras put on him on Saturday. Didn't love the slide, but I've got some old school baseball sensibility still about me, so I am not personally offended by it.
Yeah, I mean it's whatever. That's my official stance. Whatever. Do I love it? No. Is it gonna keep me awake? No.
But Maikel Garcia's numbers are eerily similar to Bobby Witt Jr.'s numbers right now. Garcia's hitting 2 points lower, 301 to Witt's 303. They have the same on-base percentage. Getting on base 37% of the time. 371 on-base percentages for both guys. Bobby's out slugging Maikel because he's got 4 more doubles and 2 more triples. But Maikel Garcia is your second best hitter. This is now over the course of 47 games. He's got to hit more. He's got to come to the plate more often. The middle of the Royals order has continued to be a mess. Salvador Perez is slugging 331 in 186 plate appearances and has fewer home runs on May 19th than Kyle Isbell. They went 2 for 4 yesterday. Hopefully that's a sign that things can turn for Salvador Perez. I still am resolute in my belief that the back of the baseball card does not lie. But right now, that's your cleanup hitter slugging 331 and an on-base percentage of 259. Vinny Pasquantino has 1 extra base hit in his last 14 games. 1. It's a homer.
Yeah.
That's nice. 1 extra base hit for Italian breakfast in his last 14 games. He is slugging .373. If that's 3 and 4 in your order every single game, you are not going to score enough runs. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
And the Royals are proof of concept. You don't believe me? You haven't been watching. Is it time to bump Michael Garcia up to the 3-hole? Is it time to maybe think about bumping Bobby Witt Jr. down? And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but India, Garcia, Witt Jr. to have Bobby in a run-producing part of the order and protected by the threat that opponents still recognize in Salvador Perez. Do we need more Mark Canna in the lineup?
What shot?
What needs to happen to jumpstart this offense? Because the unsatisfying and probably the real answer, but it's an unsatisfying one for our purposes, is Vinny and Salvi will come around. And I do believe that will happen. But in the here and now, especially, you're going to a ballpark that suppresses offense for the next 3 nights in San Francisco. And your number 1 and your number 2 starter just hit the IL. They're on the shelf. You're going to probably need to score more than 2 runs to win games that Noah Cameron and TBA are going to start here for the next couple of weeks.
I'm more of a TBD guy myself.
You go TBD?
Yeah, I go TBD.
To be determined, to be announced? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there should be some other one. TBC, to be considered.
My appearances on this show going forward are TBC, to be considered.
IDK.
yeah, that's really what it should be. I don't know.
We need more of that abbreviation. So what do you do in the short term?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different things you can throw at the wall and hope it sticks. I mean, that was essentially what the Royals did in September, right? Last year is just, but we will try anything. We will desperately try to get Robbie Grossman to be a thing in 2024. And I know different situation than with the injuries and all that, but you try something. You try more Mark Canna. You try moving guys up and down in the batting order. I would like to present a more radical idea than the one you brought up. Why not lead Witt off?
Okay.
And I understand you don't necessarily want to do that because you want Bobby Witt, who's your best hitter, your best player, to be in a position where he can produce more runs with the bat. And you're more able to do that batting second than you are batting first. And I understand that. Let me posit this to you, though. What is the point of having a guy be in position to drive in runs when no one's on base? What's more, at this stage, with the Royals offense playing the way it is, what is more likely to be a consistent form of offense? Bobby Witt being in a position where guys batting like 6 through 1 are on base in front of him and he is going to drive them in? Or Bobby Witt Jr. is going to get on base. He's going to make something happen on the base paths with his truly elite, best in baseball speed. And then all you need is a ground out and a fly out or a pair of ground outs to get him home. Especially if Garcia, like right now, honest to goodness, I'd put Bobby first and I'd put Garcia second. That's what I would do.
Your 2 best hitters, just hit him at the top of the lineup.
And the only, you might say, well, why not just leave Bobby where he is and have Garcia lead off? I'm going old school as the tiebreaker there because Witt's a better runner. Not that Garcia is slow, but Bobby Witt is maybe the fastest player in baseball next to the cartoon sideshow the Rays have. What's his name? The rookie.
Chandler Simpson.
Chandler Simpson. Yes, that's not fair to call him a sideshow, but it's the Rays. I mean, it is what it is. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm thinking you go radical here to try to mix things up. Bobby Witt gets on base with a walk, a single, whatever. He steals second. But I mean, like, I'm thinking 2005 White Sox small ball here. Scott Podsednik, base hit, steal second base. Tadahito Iguchi, move him over with a ground out or a bunt or whatever. And then you've got 2 bites at the apple to get him home. Like, that's what I'm looking for at the top of the order right now. Something. Because you're right. It doesn't have to always be like that. It does not have to be. Mm-hmm. But it also cannot be this. No. It just cannot. Mm-hmm. And I'm a believer, too, that Pasquantino will come around somehow. What that looks like, I don't know. This is a hard day to be a nerd. It's a hard day to be a baseball nerd because you know who is tattooing the baseball right now? Salvador Perez.
Yeah.
And it's not turning into anything. His actual production has been terrible. His underlying stuff, the power with which he hits the ball, to where he's hitting it, the regularity with which he's doing it, it's been great.
Yeah,
they've been great.
It's felt close all year, and then we look up, and it is May 19th, and he has fewer home runs than Kyle Isbell.
Yeah, it's frustrating. The bat speed is good. The percentage of the time he's barreling the ball is good. He has, by the way, fallen to dead last in baseball in chase rate. However, he's
pressing
it's
a little bit. Yeah,
and he doesn't walk at all. Like, the numbers when he puts the bat on the ball would indicate to you that he should be batting like, 250 with some pop and getting on base a little bit. No, it's not happening. And it just feels like, again, that's not the be all end all, the underlying stuff. I get that. At some point you have to produce, but it feels like it's going to get there. And we're going to get to a point where he hits safely in 15 of 16 games and hits 10 home runs in that stretch. And, why were we ever worried? But the problem is we haven't gotten to that turning point yet. The worm has not turned yet, and you've got to find a way to get it going. And maybe, theoretically, potentially, one way to do that is, Sal, you don't need to get hits. We need you to hit fly balls. We need you to pop out. Because you know what? A lazy fly to the middle of right field, middle of center field, probably left, not right. You know what that's going to do? Score Bobby Witt Jr. because he got on base, stole second, and got moved over to third. That's what we need from you right now. Maybe that's what it takes. Just a slight mindset shift for everybody. Your roles are changing slightly. Here's how that's going to improve things. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe they're not even considering such a thing, but I would, because they need some kind of shakeup.
Yeah, I wonder if small ball might produce a way forward as well, being a little bit more aggressive on the base paths.
It gives you a little confidence,
right? More, like, maybe Jonathan India should have laid down a bunt in the 8th with 2 on and nobody out in a 1-run game on Saturday. And I understand why he didn't. Number one, that's your leadoff hitter. You don't ask your leadoff hitter to bunt. You think one of your best contact hitters. You want contact. You want him to keep the line moving. On the flip side, when 1 run is that hard to come by, maybe you do need to lay down some bunts a little more often. Maybe, I don't know, Kyle Isbell's their best bunter. Put him in the 2-hole. See if he can move a guy. Bobby Witt Jr. gets on, steals second, get him to third.
You and I were having
cracks at driving him in.
We were having a conversation just yesterday, just shooting the what. Like, Isbell's making contact.
Yes.
Like, again, if you're getting the leadoff guy on, whether it's Witt or Garcia or whatever, if you're getting the leadoff guy on, okay, at least you're making contact. Maybe it turns into a double play once in a while. That sucks. But it also can just be, he's a good bunter. You can just make productive outs, move guys down the line. Whatever it takes to mix it up a little bit, I'd be willing to try anything if I'm the Royals at this point. One note, who told Jonathan India to take the bunt off during that at-bat the other night? Because I know there were 2 balls to start the at-bat, but guys, this is not the time to start free swinging.
2-0 is a really good time to bunt.
Right.
As it turns out. Okay, and then okay, fine. You want to say, okay, take a hack at the 2-0. Okay, get the 2-1 down. Yeah, that was
that was bad by India because you got to execute, obviously, but also who told him to stop bunting? Because they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that was an odd one. Want to pass this along before we take our first break here on 580 Sports Talk. There is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect presently for southeastern Douglas County, along with northeastern Anderson County and Franklin County until 4 p.m. Central Time. At 3:13 p.m. Central, the severe thunderstorm was located near Garnett, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour, containing ping pong ball size hail and 60 mile an hour wind gusts. Quarter sized hail reported in Garnett about 20 minutes ago. People and animals outdoors will be injured in this storm. Expect hail damage to roofs, siding, windows, and vehicles. Locations impacted include Ottawa, Baldwin City, Wellsville, Richmond, Princeton, Lane, Rantoul, and Vinland. This includes Interstate 35 between mile markers 176 and 198. So be weather aware. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Anderson County, southeastern Douglas County, and Franklin County until 4 p.m. Central Time. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll come back with good, bad, ugly from the weekend that was on 580 Sports Talk. the ugly from the weekend that was. I'm going to start with the good. We're going to have our buddy and our former intern, Trenton Kraxner, on the program in the 4 o'clock hour, talk some Royals baseball with us in his official capacity as a writer for Royals Review. But we got to celebrate his graduation yesterday. Trenton got his diploma from the University of Kansas, and we gave him a great gift. Here's the story behind this gift. I was at the Royals game. I went to the doubleheader they played against the Rockies late April, and I came across at the Royals Authentics. If you folks know those banners that they put on the light posts in the parking lot at the Truman Sports Complex. They got like the team slogan for the year and like all the players, like action shots, and all the players get a banner. Well, they were a little picked through, but I happened to see one banner I knew that Trenton would love. And I called Brendan on the spot and I said, should we get Trenton this banner as a graduation gift? And I couldn't even finish the sentence before Brendan told me, yes, absolutely, get him that banner. So Trenton, our guy who we love, we got him, and you can see this if you're watching on our YouTube stream right now, 580 Sports Talk. We got him the Chris Stratton banner from last season. And the Welcome to the City slogan on it, the whole thing. An action shot of Chris Stratton, who fittingly on Trenton's birthday weekend was designated for assignment yesterday. But we got him the banner, and it was part of his graduation gift, and he got a big kick out of it. And I enjoyed pulling that off. It's in the same spirit as the David Beatty placard that sat above your cubicle for years that Jake and I brought you from Big 12 Media Days.
Wish he had been designated for assignment on my birthday. I'd have given that would have been.
But no, it was cool to celebrate our guy. And there's his Chris Stratton banner. He's very proud of it.
The funniest part about it is, so Trenton's family was there too, obviously. His brother got a kick out of it. His dad got a kick out of it. His mom came over to take a picture, and she hadn't seen the actual player on it yet. And she goes, "Oh, is that Chris Stratton?" Very, very funny. Yeah, that's my good too. I'll give you covered all of it there. Shout out, by the way, Brick Street Bourbon up in Valley Falls. Oh boy, that food to die for. Oh my Lord.
Still thinking about those wings.
Delicious. The ribs too. Oh my gosh. Side good as well. The Preakness Steaks. Holy cow, what a race. Journalism. Finally with a big win. The business needed that, folks. Preakness was awesome. Larry Colmus, what a call.
What a day for journalism.
We needed one of those, brother.
Yeah, that's a fact. Bad for me. Didn't get more to do in a playoff roundup, but disappointed to see that the Nuggets lost, but more disappointed that Aaron Gordon couldn't be at his best for Game 7. I don't know that it would have made an entire difference to the outcome, but everything Aaron Gordon's been through on a personal level this season and everything he meant to the Nuggets in the playoffs, I wish he would have gotten to play Game 7 at full capacity rather than dealing with a grade 2 hamstring strain. That was such a bummer.
Bad for me is I fell asleep on the couch at 8 o'clock last night and woke up at 1.
Look at you.
Well, no, because then I was up till 5:30 again.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell happened. I wasn't even I didn't even think I was tired. I woke up at 1, and then I spent like 4 hours reading about tornadoes and whatnot on Wikipedia.
Yeah, you get down a wormhole. Like severe weather Wikipedia.
Wild place.
Will absolutely eat up hours and hours of your time. It's that and like air disasters. Wikipedia.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Not great to read about late at night, by the way.
No, you don't.
Storming out.
You don't want any of that. Did you have an ugly from the weekend?
Yeah, man. WNBA discourse.
Oh, yeah.
Caitlin Clark's awesome. Angel Reese, I don't think is super awesome, but like obviously has a following. She's a really good rebounder, all that. Guys, you're not racist if you like one or the other more than the other. Like, going either way. Horrible conversations.
Nobody is capable of talking about the WNBA like a normal person, particularly when it comes to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Nobody can talk about those people and sound normal, and nobody can talk about the people talking about them.
No, it's a mess.
Yes, the discourse is terrible. We do not know, and I made this point a couple years back on this show. We don't know how to talk about women's sports like we talk about men's sports.
Yeah.
We don't. And when people from the professional pundit class try, it sounds really, really stupid. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Matt Verderame never sounds stupid. He makes us sound smart. Matt Verderame joins us to talk football next on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by our NFL insider, Matt Verderame, covers the league for Sports Illustrated, SI.com, also appears on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network and has his own subscriber-only Patreon, The Matt Verderame Show. Joins us every Monday here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, a little bit of a Friday news dump, but Brock Purdy got paid about $53 million a year average annual value, puts him in the same class as quarterbacks like Jared Goff and Tua Tagovailoa. Is Brock Purdy worth all that money?
He is, in terms of it is very, very hard to find a quality starting quarterback. Purdy's gone to a Super Bowl. I think he's better than Tua. I think he's in the same class as Goff. So in that regard, yes. Now, you could sit there and argue, well, if you're the Niners, would you have rather just taken another bite at the apple? And it's been such a quarterback-friendly system with Shanahan that you could argue that. You could sit there and say, hey, look, you know what? Rather go another route. The hard thing is, if you're the Niners, what if you have another Trey Lance situation? What if you bomb out and you don't get the guy and now he's fired? So easier said than done. Look, in the end, if you also look at the details, like most NFL contracts, there's a lot of wiggle room. I think it's a pretty good deal for 49ers.
Do you think they can put pieces around Brock Purdy now that he is making this kind of money to make the offense good enough to go win a Super Bowl? Or did it need to be for Purdy, him on the cheap deal, and the Avengers with Kittle and McCaffrey and Samuel and Ayuk all in their primes making the big money? Does it work for San Francisco the way they hope it might if Purdy's the guy now getting paid?
It's a lot harder, which is true for any team that pays their quarterback. But look, he is not Allen or Mahomes or Burrow. He's not that player. They need to surround him with good players and great players. The Niners, in my opinion, regardless of whether or not they extended Purdy, I thought had their window slammed shut on him when they lost the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, second time. They just were never going to, in my opinion, have that same type of team based on the fact Trent Williams is getting older. Devo, even at that time, was starting to get older. Kittle, of course, now in his 30s, he's getting up there in age. And McCaffrey, while not older, is a guy who has a big injury history in his background. So I think for the 49ers, you are on the downside. Now, does that mean that they're not talented? No. They still have Ayuk. They still have Kittle. They still have McCaffrey. They have, I think, at least somewhat rectified that defensive backfield with some of the signings and draft picks they've made, although it remains to be seen. But this is not a 49ers team that's on par with the Eagles and the Rams and the Lions in the NFC in terms of talent on the roster. They're just not. They're going to need Purdy to play like, if not an all-pro, a legitimate Pro Bowl level quarterback.
Matt Verderame is our guest every Monday at this time. He stops by to talk all things NFL with us here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. You can check out Matt's work in Sports Illustrated or at SI.com. Also, the Matt Verderame Show on Patreon and That Football Show at the KC Sports Network. One Chiefs-specific question, Matt, before we get on to a recap of the schedule release from a week ago. But I saw on Twitter, and I know you saw the same video, there's a gentleman out there, I think he's a fantasy writer, who's been putting together cut-ups of every big-name quarterback in the NFL and all of their 20-yard down-the-field throws from a clean pocket. Now, that's kind of a lot of qualifiers, but you sort of get a glimpse at the explosive ability of offenses for these elite quarterbacks, or at least interesting quarterbacks around the league. I know you saw the Patrick Mahomes video. I saw it today, too. And all it did was make me frustrated because there were a few misses, sure. I thought there were also a number of throws. We're like, Justin Watson, what the hell are you doing? Xavier Worthy, steeper learning curve than I think people gave him credit for this past season. Hollywood Brown looked terrible on these throws. When you go through that and you think back to this vertical passing game for the Chiefs, what do you think was the biggest reason why it wasn't better this past year?
Not to give the stock answer, but I think it's the right answer in this case. There's a lot of reasons. I think they all share some blame. But Mahomes missed throws last year he should have made. And that, there's no two ways. I mean, there were times with Mahomes where he had a clean pocket and guys were open. And look, I would argue that Mahomes' biggest problem in terms of going down the field is he didn't do it enough. But then again, you watch that cut up, and I saw a lot of what you saw, which is, okay, first of all, a lot of times the pocket wasn't clean. And even in that video where they said everything was supposedly a clean pocket, there were a decent amount of throws there where I'd argue it wasn't really a clean pocket. But a lot of times, yeah, you watch the receivers and went, well, they have no separation. Or he's got a step out of separation, but he doesn't know what he's doing and can't track the football. Or he's got 2 steps, but he ran himself clear out of bounds. I mean, there was all those things are true. Now, I will say this to spin this forward with this team. If they are healthy this season and they get even just reasonable protection on the left side of the offensive line, there is no excuse for them not to throw the ball down the field and hit on those plays. They have one of the fastest receivers in the NFL, who the second half of the year was excellent. They have Rasheed Rice, who before he got hurt last year, I think he was going to have 1,500 yards. Hollywood Brown is one of the better third receivers in the league. We'll see what they get, if anything, as a rookie out of Jalen Royals, but they bring him in. He's got great speed. He is an excellent deep ball receiver, at least was in college. You've got all the skilled players in the world at this point. There is no reason not to succeed. But last year, yeah, it was really the last 2 years, it has been a combination of just they don't try to go downfield. When they do, they don't have the receivers to do it. They don't block well enough to do it. And then even when they do all those things, Mahomes has not been up to snuff on a lot of these throws. So all those things have combined for them to be atrocious throwing the ball down the field.
The schedule was released this past Wednesday after what felt like a month of dates trickling out. And, here's one of the international games. Here's one Christmas game. Finally, we got the entire thing. How do you feel like it shook out for the Chiefs? We felt on this show like it, and honestly, it looks pretty decent. Bunch of really difficult games early. Obviously, a ton of prime time, a bunch of holiday games. But the back half of the schedule after the bye lightens up quite a bit. How do you think it shook out for the Chiefs?
I actually thought it shook out nicely. Now, you're going to have people who look at the schedule and go, oh my God, look at all the teams are playing, how tough it is. That was always going to be the case. They're playing first place schedule. I mean, you're going to play the Bills, you're going to play the Ravens, play the Lions, because that's the NFC division they're getting this year as a rotational. They're playing the NFC. You're getting Philly and Washington. That being said, few things. One, low-hanging fruit. Bye weeks in the middle of the year. That's nice. Week 10, so you get 9 games before 8 games after. You can't ask for a better bye week. Number 2, I think it's interesting that all 3 of their road divisional games, the Chiefs have an advantage in all 3 of them. First week, they are playing on a neutral site, and they get all summer to prepare for that game. Denver, which I think is the hardest of the 3 road games in the division, they have a bye week before it. And then they play the Raiders in week 18. That game could mean absolutely nothing. And even if it does mean something, you have a week and a half to prepare for it because you're playing on Christmas. If you're the Chiefs, that is a great setup. And then also, they do not have any back-to-back road games all year long, which I think is fascinating. Like they only have one time where they have 2 straight games on the road, and it's split up by a bye week. They go to Buffalo, then they have a bye, then they play Denver. If you're the Chiefs, hard to argue that. You have a stretch between weeks 2 and 8 where 5 of the 7 games are at home, the 2 road games are the Giants and Jags. Look, it's not an easy schedule in the sense that in the first 9 weeks of the year, you play a lot of really good teams. You play the Eagles, you play the Lions, you play the Bills, you play the Commanders. You also play the Chargers for however you want to define them. But I think 6 of the first 9 weeks of the year, they're playing teams that made the playoffs. The flip side of that is I could make a real argument that after the bye, they may not lose a game. Like if they were to really hone in and focus and play well, the hardest games probably at Denver or Thanksgiving at Dallas, they're favorites in both those games. So they have a very nice schedule down the stretch if they're playing well.
The Trey Hendrickson saga in Cincinnati took another step last week when he had an impromptu press conference at minicamp and was answering questions and shared his feelings. And I thought clearly was upset, but I thought handled things in a mostly professional way. The shark attack stuff was kind of bizarre, but he said, hey, I'm not going to play on this current contract without a new deal. I thought last year I rescinded my trade request and I thought they'd argue or, negotiate in good faith if I had a great year. I did. They didn't. And now here we are. I would love for a team like, Green Bay, who needs an edge rusher, to go get Trey Hendrickson. But do you think, knowing how you know the Bengals, this is going to end with anything other than Trey Hendrickson just playing out the deal?
I think that's the leader in the clubhouse, is that's what happens. the Bengals they don't give in to stuff like this typically. They don't. And hey, listen, sometimes things happen. I will be the first one to sit here and say that I thought they'll pay Chase and not Higgins. They paid them both. So Bengals surprised me. Maybe they do it again. But history, if past is prologue, history would tell you that they are going to dig their heels in. And listen, I actually, to be fair to the Bengals, I understand not wanting to pay Hendrickson. I get it. He's 30. That defense is abominable anyway, but at time it's good. He's probably on the decline if he's not flat out just gone. I get it. But then my argument would be then trade him. Then just move him. But now, there are all these reports before the draft. Well, if they trade him, they want a first-round pick. They're not getting a first-round pick for a 30-year-old edge rusher. Like, Hendrickson's awesome, but he's not Myles Garrett. Like, they're not getting that. They could get a day 2 pick. I think a third-round pick is probably realistic. Maybe if it's a real good bidding war, maybe you get a high, like a low-end second-round pick. That's probably a lot to ask for. I think though in the end, he probably is on Cincinnati for one more year. And then the question becomes, if he has another really good year, do they tag him? Do they really play this thing? I mean, it's just the Bengals do not treat this stuff like a lot of other teams would.
Our guest is Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated, SI.com, our NFL insider, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. Matt, wanted to ask about the owners getting ready to vote on some rules proposals. Obviously, the tush-push ban is very much a possibility, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the proposal from the Lions that would seed the postseason bracket by record instead of by division champions. Number one, do you think there's some steam for this to pass? And number two, what's your take on the idea of seeding the playoffs by record and not by the first 4 division champions get the top 4 seeds?
I am a traditionalist by nature, so I'm not a huge fan of it. I do think there's steam. I do think it's possible. I don't think it's definite, but I think there's a reasonable chance it passes. I just feel like this is an overcorrection to 1 year of the NFC North where the Vikings went 14-3. And here's the other part of this, too. I think this would have made a lot more sense when 2 teams got a bye. Like, 1 team gets a bye. So it's not as though, like, if the Vikings last year, okay, let's say they were a 2 seed. I can't remember if they would have been the 2 or Philly would have been the 2. But let's just say they would have been the 2 seed. Okay. I'm not saying it doesn't help them. Like, it obviously helps them. You're still playing 3 games. You're not getting the bye anymore. Now, you're at home. I get it. Certainly better than being a 5 seed. But there's also the part of me that says, then what is the point of having divisions? So the biggest problem I have with this is let's use the AFC as an example here. So the AFC North is way harder than the AFC South. If Houston and Baltimore both finish at 12-5, okay, and you want to say that Cincinnati maybe or Pittsburgh somehow wins 13 games. Let's just live in a world that one of those teams wins 13. Okay, fine. Well, now you're going to say, well, Houston's getting a better seed than Baltimore. Okay, fine. Houston's going to win the division. But it's as I'm saying, so I'm realizing this example in real time is not going to work. My point is, there are going to be scenarios where teams get screwed over by the fact that they're playing in tougher divisions. And I just think if you're going to do this, then you might as well just say, look, you're playing everybody in the conference once. Those are 15 games, and then you're just going to play whatever. If you're a third place team, you're going to face 2 NFC teams that were third place teams. We're going to rotate it. I just think all of a sudden the schedule becomes way more important. And I think that you're going to have some wonky things. I just don't have a big problem with, look, if you win your division and you're a 4 seed, fine. Like, I don't have a beef with that. I'm not going to go nuts, but I would rather it just stay the way it is.
Matt Verderame joins us every Monday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline to talk all things NFL. You can read his work on Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You can also catch him on That Football Show in the KC Sports Network and his own subscribers-only Patreon, The Matt Verderame Show. Matt, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
It sounds good. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. Before we step aside for a timeout, do want to pass along another severe weather update. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect for northwestern Riley, northwestern Pottawatomie, and southern Marshall counties until 4:45 p.m. Central Time. At 3:52 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Riley, moving north at 35 miles per hour. Radar indicating 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Locations impacted include Blue Rapids, Riley, Frankfort, Waterville, Leonardville, Olsburg, Randolph, Vermilion, and Tuttle Creek Lake. Again, that is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4:45 p.m. for northwestern Riley, northwestern Potawatomi, and southern Marshall counties. We'll continue to keep you posted on the threat of severe weather as it moves into our area this afternoon. Right now, we'll take a timeout, come back with the rest of this 3 o'clock hour 580 Sports Talk. All right, thanks again to Matt Verderame for joining us. Talk some football here on 580 Sports Talk. A lot of baseball coming up at the 4 o'clock hour. We're going to talk about how the Royals navigate this upcoming stretch without their top two starters in their rotation, with Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo each placed on the injured list on the same day over the weekend. Will game out the next couple of weeks without the Royals' two Cy Young contenders from last year. We'll also talk to our old buddy Trenton Kraxner. He's going to join us on the phone at the bottom of the next hour, and we'll get his thoughts on where the Royals stand 48 games in. Right now, though, I have, every day we're on the air this week, a pair of tickets to see the Flint Hills PRCA Rodeo on May 30th at the Strong City, Kansas Arena. The Flint Hills PRCA Rodeo coming back once again, May 29th through the 31st. We have tickets for May 30th. I have a pair of tickets to give away. I'm giving away to caller number 3 to 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429. You're going to the Flint Hills Rodeo on May 30th. More 580 Sports Talk after this. Let's get it. Now, number 2, 580 Sports Talk on this Monday afternoon. So glad you're with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and of course, on our video stream. We are live on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. However you're consuming the program today, we're sure glad you're along for the ride on this Monday. Dan Lucero, Brendan Rosinski, Spencer Dupuis, gang's all here for the next 2 hours of the program. Royals heavy here in this 4 o'clock hour. Boys in Blue took a 2-1 victory over the Cardinals yesterday afternoon to salvage one game of the I-70 series. Friday and Saturday, well, that was no way to honor the champions on Champions Weekend. He duffed out on Friday night, and Cole Ragans gets hurt, and then Saturday lose a 1-0 game. I think my favorite detail from the weekend is that Bud Black did indeed show up for Friday night. That's
why they lost.
That made me, wow.
Damn.
Welcome to the show, Spencer. Gee.
Do you know he managed your favorite team, Dan? You know they suck and they lose all the time?
Yeah, they went to the playoffs in 2017, 2018 with Bud Black. He was their best manager ever until he was their worst.
Still in college, though.
All right, man.
Go cut his mic.
Walk on over there.
You got too much power right now. Yeah, Bud Black came. He was there for the 85 night. That was like I said, he wasn't busy. And,
listen, you suddenly get let go, and you got a bunch of free time on your hands. I get it. You got stuff to go do.
A lot of greats out for 85 and 2015 was very well attended.
What do you think that phone call was like? Hey, Bud. No, hope you're doing okay, man.
So they probably didn't bother to invite him at first,
right?
So, or maybe they did. Maybe it's like everybody gets an invite. Like when you invite somebody to something that you know they're not going to come to. Like,
that could be.
We both got married. Like, you have the baby shower or the wedding shower, and you invite like that aunt who lives 3 states away, and they're not going to probably make it, but it's the thought that counts. You don't want them to not be invited and not feel included.
That was definitely how we approached the baby shower. Like, I know these guys aren't. These guys ain't making the 8-hour drive to come to this, but I feel bad not at least inviting.
Right, because you do. You want them to feel included. I bet Bud Black got one of those invitations. Delivered to 2001 Lake Street in Denver. Hey, you are invited to the 1985 Champions Weekend. We know you're probably going to be employed, but, if you can make it, we'd love to have you. To make sure that he felt just as included as the Buddy Biancalanas and the Danny Jacksons of the world, who were not at the time managing Major League Baseball teams. And then Bud Black abruptly wasn't managing a Major League Baseball team anymore. So what do you know? He had the time, and certainly I'm sure the gig paid pretty well. He could schlep his way to Kansas City. And it was good to see him. It was good to see him smiling and wearing Royal stuff and hopefully freeing himself from the toxicity of being a member of the Rockies organization. I liked that about the weekend.
Yeah, it was cool to see him out there.
Paul points out in the YouTube comments, we appreciate everybody in the YouTube comments, that on Saturday, Wade Davis threw out the first pitch to Drew Butera. Another couple of Rockies icons getting together in Kansas City and throwing out the first pitch.
The fascination between the Rockies and
there's so much
the Royals.
There's so much overlap. It's unbelievable how much overlap there is between those two franchises. Unbelievable.
I had a pretty good
Let's
Rockies.
go from one place to another 8 hours away.
I had a pretty good Rockies row on the Immaculate Grid today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was a 30 home run season. I couldn't come up with a good one. I just went with Larry Walker, which obvious. Yeah.
Jeremy Burnett's.
That's a good one. Cub great, Jeremy Burnett. His weird batting stance with his big fat butt sticking out. He did. He had a fat butt. Rocky with a 300 batting average or better season. Kit Pello.
Did he really hit over 300? Royal great Kit Pello.
Yeah, he played 11 games one season, 21 at bats. He batted .444. Amazing status pro baseball card, by the way.
I went with Raimel Tapia. Did it in the COVID year.
And then Rocky A, Mark Ellis.
Great answer.
Thank you.
I went with the late Joe Kennedy there. I got a 9 on the.
Didn't you have Joe Kennedy on one the other day too?
Probably.
Yeah, I think we just talked about Joe.
No,
Kennedy
we were talking about Joe Kennedy. We were talking about baseball players who died young, and he came up.
Oh,
yeah, it was a real
sadder.
Yeah, a real fun conversation we were having. Yeah, Joe Kennedy. He died in the middle of his playing career. Very sad. Anyhow, Yeah, a lot of overlap, and it is very funny. Wade Davis and Drew Buterre were also members of the 2018 Rockies, and also the 2019 Rockies, but we don't like to talk about them as much.
Yeah, just keeps going downhill.
We're going to talk about the 2025 Royals and maybe in years beyond, because a couple of things happened over the weekend. Number one, Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo were placed on the injured list on the same day. What a 1-2 kick to the gonads that had to be for Royals fans. And then Jack Caglione got promoted. Jack Caglione is on his way to AAA Omaha. So we'll talk about all of that. We'll cover it all with our good pal, our former 580 Sports Talk intern, current writer for Royals Review, and recent graduate of the University of Kansas, Trenton Kraxner. He's going to join us sometime at the bottom of this hour. We're going to get Trenton in and get his thoughts on everything going on with his beloved boys in blue. We got to get him some reps. He's off the KJHK staff now, so we got to get him some reps.
Yeah.
He's your sideline reporter for Washburn football. We got to keep him sharp.
Yes, that is indeed true. August 30th against Truman State. It'll be here before you know it. That is the season opener for Washburn, by the way.
Home game, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, first 2 games of the year at home. It'll be Truman State and Northwest Missouri State back-to-back weekends at home to open the year, followed by a whole lot of car time. Week 3, it will be at the Colorado School of Mines in Golden, right outside. It is essentially a suburb, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Have you been?
I covered
That's it. You covered playoff football. It's playoff D2
and
football.
I knew people that went.
Yeah, there you go.
And we
okay, so yeah,
other media members we talked about. He goes,
Sure.
"Oh yeah, we went right to this." They were talking about doing all these things.
It's right outside Denver, right?
As the Colorado knower on this staff, Golden is on the fringes of what you would call the Denver metro area. There's a little bit of remove
It's
from
west.
yes,
Right.
There's a little bit of remove from Golden, the rest of the metro area. I would not call it a suburb by any stretch.
But it's on 70.
Yeah, but you would probably
The I-70 series.
Look, if you're in the area for like 4 or 5 days, you can go to all the Denver things when you're there.
Sure. I will be there for like maybe 24 hours. But yes, that's week 3 for Washburn. Week 4, then we get to come home and then we get to drive to Edmond.
oof.
Get to go down there.
Go see the waterfall.
Mercifully, no more trips, at least for football, to Tahlequah.
Yeah.
They are off the schedule.
That's got to be nice.
Yeah.
What a relief.
And in fact, no trips, period, as far as I'm aware, to Tahlequah this year, because they are in the MIAA South Division in basketball. And since we played at Tahlequah this year, they got to make the trip to Topeka this year. We will instead be going to Edmond and Claremore for basketball. That's not nearly as bad.
Not nearly as bad. You don't have to go do that Tahlequah Fort Smith double.
Oh, buddy. Yeah. Just awful. Just brutal.
This has been Talking MIAA. We're going to talk plenty of Royals this hour. We got What Is Wrong With You coming up. We want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also get at us in the chat on our YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube.
At least the drive to Fort Smith is pretty. Northwest Arkansas, it's very pretty out there.
I guess I've never been all that way down. Yeah.
I went down 70. Well, I got on K10 to I-49 on the Missouri side of the KC Metro and just took 49 all the way south to Bentonville, I believe, and then across to Fort Smith. That part of the Ozarks is very beautiful. There's a lot of natural beauty in Arkansas.
I believe that.
Yeah, it's the natural state.
Yes. I absolutely believe that.
It's my first time there, in fact. I had never been to Arkansas before. I had grandparents who lived there, but we weren't super close to them when I was a kid. So, yeah, that was my first time in Arkansas. And unfortunately, it ended with a pair of Washburn losses.
Cody points out in the YouTube chat that the terrible MIAA trips are just as bad as a player. Probably because you're on the bus. And I miss, like, if there's one thing I miss about being a collegiate athlete / doing like college radio, it's the bus trips. I love I did enjoy the camaraderie, but also you're slower. You can't really pick when you're going to stop. And yeah, some of those bus trips are really long. At least Cody, who points out that if your bus has questionable air conditioning, it's even worse. I feel that. At least, Cody, that the MIAA's longest trip, what is it now? Probably Hayes to Fort Smith or Kearney to Fort Smith?
Kearney to Fort Smith.
How long is that bus trip?
I don't know, because our pal Jason Jorgensen, the voice of the Lopers, told me that they spent the night in Kansas City.
Okay.
They split it up when they made the trip.
So Kearney to Fort Smith, I just punched it into Google. That is 577 miles.
How many hours?
8 hours and 41 minutes on a car probably means you're talking nine and a half on a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way. You've made your fair share of MIAA bus trips in your day.
I have, but I was also going to tell the story of the time that I took a bus trip in college in the SCAC from Greencastle to Atlanta, Georgia.
It's quite a ways.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they were in our league. Oglethorpe, the Stormy Petrels. That was actually shorter. 538 miles.
Did you ever bus to San Antonio when Trinity was in your league?
No, we flew. We flew the Texas trips. Yes,
okay, that's good.
So my university, I went to DePauw University. We were in a Division III conference. We had conference games in Colorado Springs, San Antonio, Austin, Texas, also Atlanta and Jackson, Mississippi.
You pretty much played in D3 Conference USA.
Yes, precisely. Yeah, we were in D3 Conference USA there. Nowadays, DePauw's in the NCAC, which is a bunch of schools in Ohio that they play against.
A little bit closer.
Makes a lot more sense.
See, I don't mind driving. Like, I have no problem with driving. And like for football, I get to go with Trenton and our color commentator Fletcher Terrell. We have a good time. And for basketball, I like the alone time. Like, going to Fort Smith, that's a lot of alone time.
Sure.
But I like having the solitude, listen to music, podcast,
I
game,
always
whatever.
enjoyed it too. Yeah.
I enjoy that. I like having that time. But there's always a point. When I drove home from Evansville, long Washburn season, incredibly fruitful Washburn season, obviously, driving home from the D2 Elite Eight, and I'm somewhere in Illinois, driving on I-64. And the thought crossed my mind, God, I want to be home. I am so ready to be home. And yeah, you get to that point eventually. But thankfully, the MIAA, unlike a lot of conferences at like every level, still fairly condensed.
Yeah.
Like the more that they talk about expanding into Texas and Arkansas, it gets a little bit less condensed.
If you want to be the Mid-America Conference, that's all well and good. But if you start, going to Wichita Falls or like
oh my God,
Chadron, Nebraska, I guess you're still
expands a little bit.
Yeah.
A little more time in the truck.
You gotta have a conference that's true to the name. I guess you don't. I guess once the Big Ten added Penn State, that all went out the window.
Yeah, that's true.
When that was the first
11 teams.
Yeah, they snuck the digits into the Big Ten logo.
Into the logo. Oh,
yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, really slick. And like, oh yeah, it's the Big Ten, but it has 11 teams. And it's like, well, yeah, it's the Big 12, and now it has 10 teams, and now it has 16 teams.
So
got all that?
Now we have the Big East, and we're going to invite TCU and Boise State. Yeah, it stopped mattering after a stretch of time.
When I went on the bus trip with Washburn women, that was my first ever bus trip.
Really?
Like, period?
Like, I mean, for like with a team.
Okay.
Because it was always
like you've never been on a bus before.
It was always either driving myself or driving the crew, or like when we were in college and we go call games, our advisor would go with us.
Sure.
So never had to do that. There was like a spot where it's like I wanted to drive myself, but then it was like, did I really want to drive that far?
Yeah, it's a ways because you went up to St. Cloud.
Yeah,
it's a ways.
That's a bit too far. Like there are some drives you think it would be nice to have somebody else doing the driving.
The worst part is the post game, like post finale of the event, getting on that bus.
Yeah.
And then driving,
you gotta ride the bus all the way home
in the middle of the night, but like random stops because it's just further than it was like an hour and a half further than what was allotted on a normal one-day trip. So we had to stop.
Yeah, we had to stop and switch bus
Yes.
drivers on that Birmingham, Alabama to Greencastle trip.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we had to stop and switch bus drivers.
And then
at like
the bus
3 in the
driver
morning.
didn't know where the new bus driver was. It was like a 20-minute ordeal.
Also a 20-minute ordeal, us talking about bus trips. I swear to God, we're going to talk baseball.
It's sports. Everything is sports.
Everything is sports. The Kansas City Royals, this is going to be an ordeal. Starter number 1, starter number 2 in the rotation are both out. Both Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo to the injured list. That was announced on Saturday. Ragans placed on the IL on Saturday, so the soonest he can be back is June 1st. That is when he expects to be back. Ragans was talking to the media yesterday, and said that he hadn't felt right since he tweaked the groin initially. I think it was in the warm-up to his start against Colorado back on April 24th. And he just hasn't been right since, which explains why we haven't gotten like peak Cole Ragans since then. Like, he's obviously been effective. He's still had the swing and miss. He still had the strikeout stuff, but it hasn't been super efficient. Hasn't been able to work deep into games. Just hasn't been quite as sharp. Like, there's a sharpness that had been missing from Cole Ragans in his last handful of starts. And hopefully a injured list stint will allow the groin flare-up to calm down a little bit. He can get back to himself, maybe make a rehab start, and then get back on the bump on June 1st. We don't know about a timetable for Seth Lugo, whose IL stint is retroactive to Wednesday, which means he could come off the IL 3 days earlier. That'd be May 29th, I think, is when he's eligible to come off the IL. But we don't know, and we haven't heard from Seth Lugo yet about when he expects to be back. And finger injuries on the pitching hand can be tricky. They might have to MRI it and see if there's anything in there that needs some kind of repair. So Lugo's return is, what do you want to do here? TBD or TBA? TBD, maybe.
TBD.
TBD is a little more appropriate here, to be determined. Sounds like it's something he's been dealing with a while, and it certainly seems like he's going to miss more starts than Ragans will. That means the Royals are looking at a rotation that can go like this all the way up through their series against Detroit at the end of this month. So Bubic is going tonight in San Francisco. Michael Lorenzen's going tomorrow. And then they've got TBA to be announced. Hasn't been announced yet. Also TBD, to be determined, has not been determined yet. TBA on Thursday after or Wednesday afternoon in San Francisco. Then you get the off day. The off day allows you to push some guys back. Noah Cameron could go that first game on Friday, followed by Waka and then Bubic, then Lorenzen. Then you can have a TBA again. That'd be Monday at home. That's the Memorial Day home game against Cincinnati. Or rather, let me make sure I have my dates exactly right here. You've got your next three starters are taken care of, are accounted for. Then you have the off day before the Minnesota series. Your three starters for the Minnesota series would be Cameron, Waka, and Bubic. Then you've got Cincinnati coming to town, and then you'd have Lorenzen for the Memorial Day game. Tuesday would be your day you'd need a fifth starter. Then Noah Cameron. Then you're off on Thursday. 30th and 31st, you can get back to Waka and Bubic, and that's the first two games of the Detroit series prior to Ragans' return. If you get him back in the 15 days, you get him back June 1st. You get another off day after that series. You get a Monday off, which means you can either reset the rotation or you can keep guys on their regular rest for the St. Louis series and the White Sox series that follow in the next week. So even giving Lugo an extra week of recovery, which I think is an appropriate assumption at this point, if not longer, you're looking at needing 2 starts picked up by, let's call him starter number 7. Because starter number 6 right now is Noah Cameron. And hey, wonderful news. Noah Cameron might be good. Now, good is relative. Big league caliber, let's say, about Noah Cameron. I think we can say that comfortably.
Good signs.
Through 2 starts. It may not be like a Cole Ragans ceiling we're dealing with here. Hasn't been a ton of swing and miss on his stuff, but he had 20 called strikes on Saturday. And what that tells me, coming from a lineup that had never seen him before, number one, he's going to attack the strike zone. And number 2, there's a little funk and deception in his delivery that's going to make him hard to square up. Hasn't been a ton of hard contact off of him in 2 starts. He's been fearless. He's attacked hitters. He knows how to pitch. That's starter number 6, picking up a couple of starts in an emergency. I feel good about that for the short term for the Royals. Obviously, it's not an upgrade over Cole Ragans or Seth Lugo, but in a pinch, you were always going to need something from starter number 6, whoever that was, and Noah Cameron has stepped into that role ably. Starter number 7, don't know what that is. That's the mystery box right now. Could be a bullpen day on Wednesday. Sounded like Matt Quatraro was leaning in that direction. Don't know what it would be beyond that. Don't know what it'd be for the Cincinnati series at home. But that's 2 you've got to cover. If you're fortunate, it's only 2 that you've got to cover before Lugo comes back. They've got 2 options down at AAA that make sense based on performance. Luinder Avila is the one I think makes the most sense because he's got a 40-man roster spot. So, like, Thomas Hatch has pitched to the major leagues. He's having an okay year. High ERA, but the peripherals are decent for the Storm Chasers. He'd need a 40-man roster spot. So you'd have to move somebody off the 40-man or put somebody on the 60-day. Avila's already on the 40-man, so you could just bring him up. And again, he's another guy, fairly high ERA, but he's striking out guys, 10.5 per 9. He's only allowed 3 home runs. So what that tells me is, based on his peripherals, his ERA being in the high 4s, tells me that it kind of avalanches on him a little bit when guys start reaching base. But that's the guy I think I would expect him to start Tuesday. I think they might try and get by with a bullpen game with an off day looming on Thursday in Wednesday's game, and then Avila for Tuesday. And then you cross your fingers and you hope you don't need that. And the way that the off days fall, you might not. And you might give Lugo an extra week to get back from the finger injury. That, I feel, is the best case scenario. And that's, given the way that Cameron has pitched, that's not a terrible outcome. That's more survivable. Like, when you look on paper, number 1 and number 2 starters going to the injured list on the same day, that feels like, oh no, this is potentially season altering.
Sky is falling.
Yes, chicken littles abound. But given the schedule, given what Cameron showed in his second major league start, showing that what he showed in his first big league start wasn't a fluke, this feels like the Royals can survive this, provided these are not long-term injuries. And at least in Ragans' case, it doesn't sound like it's going to be.
No, and hopefully he's able to just rest up, get all the way healthy, because it really feels more like he's just not right than anything. And I mean, if you're not feeling well, your groin's bothering you, every time you stride, step off the rubber, whatever, that's obviously going to be a pain in the butt, maybe literally. So yeah, hopefully it doesn't take too long for him to get back from that. Kind of mysterious, like you said, with Lugo at this point, what his return will look like. The only question for me is, if it does extend out a little bit longer, I'm fine with Cameron. Even if he has a start or two that are, closer to 5 and fly, typical rookie stuff, who maybe has a little bit of an issue with control, like they're not going to be perfect. It's fine. Like you said, big league playable. You can live with it. You've got good defense behind him. Hopefully you get like a good game from the offense the next 2 weeks. Maybe it falls on his day to help him out a little bit. If it takes a little bit longer for Cole Ragans to get back, what does that look like if you can't just survive with bullpen days? If you've got to go with somebody else in that spot? Thankfully for the Royals, they've got a couple different options here. Maybe you try to make the bullpen day work, but instead of like having 7 pitchers in a game, you see, like, can you get Bolin and Lynch to each give you like 3 innings apiece and then get to the rest of the bullpen like that? Can Daniel Lynch start a game? Can he give you 4 or 5 if he starts a game? He's done it plenty of times in the past. He's obviously been good out of the bullpen, but, can you get that out of Daniel Lynch at this point? I don't think this will be the case, but you did sign Rich Hill to a minor league contract. You'd have to make room on the 40-man.
Well, they have 38 guys on the 40-man.
Yeah, so you could make that happen. There's also, before we get to that point, maybe someone gets hurt, has to go on the IL. There's, gets put on a different list, whatever. Who knows? A lot could happen between now and this hypothetical date. So at the very least, you do have some options, which is a nice place to be in. And look, if Noah Cameron's your 4th starter for 2-3 weeks, okay, you could do a whole lot worse than that.
Yeah, feels like you can stay above water with Cameron.
And look, if you've got 4 starters and then every 5th, or given how many off days are coming up, every 6th day, you kind of say, well, we just got to throw something at a wall and hope it sticks. Again, there are worse places to be in a pinch than that.
And both Bolin and Avila have earned an opportunity. Bolin's been terrific out of the bullpen. This is the first time he's been a full-time reliever in his professional career. And in 13 appearances in Omaha, he's got 25 strikeouts to 5 walks in 17 in the 3rd innings. 2.08 earned run average. He came up and made 1 appearance for the Royals already this year, 2 hitless innings with a strikeout. I would be intrigued to see an inning or 2 from Jonathan Bolin on Wednesday. He is with the big club right now. The Royals have their full component of arms. Earlier today, in case you missed it, they recalled Taylor Clark from paternity leave. Congratulations to the Clarks. And DFAd Luke Maley. So they're back to their full component of 13 arms and back down only having 2 catchers, which is a good sign for Salvador Perez's health. So Bolin, I think, is probably going to be the guy. Him and Lynch are your multi-inning guys right now in the bullpen collection. that might be what you do on Wednesday. I'd like to see Avila get the nod Tuesday against Cincinnati next Tuesday. And then, again, the way the schedule falls, you would not need that fifth starter for another 2 weeks. And that could be crucial, giving Seth Lugo that time to recover and get back into the rotation. But, again, the reason we walk through all that is to display that it's not good that Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo aren't going to take their regular turns, but this is survivable. Of course, that assumes that they got to get a little more offense than they have in recent days. Yeah. We talked about that at the top of the show, and they can't give the bullpen game 2 runs of support. They can't give Noah Cameron no runs of support like they did. And they can't give anybody no runs of support. You can't win a game when you don't score. But, the offense has to certainly come alive. And maybe this is the kind of thing that sparks that, is the knowledge that, hey, we're leaning really heavily on our starting pitching right now. Now we got 2 studs on the IL. Time for the offense to go. Time for them to push the go button and start putting some numbers up if indeed they're capable. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll come back with our first round of What Is Wrong With You for the week on 580 WIBW. It's What Is Wrong With You time on 580 Sports Talk. 2 new stories competing to start a brand new week on What Is Wrong With You, and it's sponsored, as always, by our buddy Mo, State Farm Agent Ryan, Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. Give Mo a call because Mo knows. 785-273-1572. 2 new stories today. I will go first. A story I have called simply Bad Moms. We're going to Arizona. Couple of moms having a night on the town together, going out, having a good time. Did they get babysitters for their kids? Nope.
Oh,
they left them in an unlocked vehicle in the parking lot of the bar at 11 p.m.
Oh
my
dear.
God.
This happened March 8th. We're only now seeing the body cam footage of police responding at 11 p.m. to a call by someone who said they found a small child running around a parking lot alone. Witnesses at the scene told police they searched for the child's parents, but couldn't find any other adults around. There were 3 other children found inside a vehicle. 2 of them were in car seats. When police searched the car as their body cams rolled, one officer found what police confirmed in their post was a large bag of weed. The officer can be heard on the video saying, "Seriously?" upon discovering what it was that they found. The officer stated they searched nearby businesses looking for the children's parents. About 45 minutes after they arrived at the scene, the two mothers finally returned to the car. An officer told one of the women, "Hey, your kids have been here for hours." She responded, "Hours?" Another officer asked her, "Where have you been?" She said, "I went in to go to the bathroom." The woman was informed that her young daughter was seen running around the parking lot. The car with the other children inside was unlocked. The other woman also told police that she was in the bathroom and then went to Caramel Cookie. She was meaning to refer to the Crumble Cookie store.
Caramel Cookie.
The officers continued to try to get a response out of the first mom, who told police she and her friend went inside to go to the bathroom. And we first went to the Salt bathroom, referring to the Salt Tacos y Tequila bar and restaurant. The officer responded, "You went to Salt? You went to a bar?" After denying that she did anything but use the bathroom, the first mother admitted, "I mean, we did get a drink." When the second mother was asked when she arrived at the bar, she slurred, 15 minutes ago? Police said that both women
What is she, Homer Simpson?
Police said that both women whose name were not released smelled like alcohol and had slurred speech. They were both arrested. The children were taken to a nearby hospital.
All right.
They're dressed for a night on the town. Like there's a picture at the very top of the article. This woman is wearing like a going out top.
Jeez Louise.
And the caption, not the caption, the what do you call it? I guess the caption. The closed caption. Yeah, like the words that she is saying are captioned on the screen, and she is quoted saying, "I know this is super, super bad." Yup.
Correct.
So those are the bad moms. Who's got a story?
I have a story for us, and we have the Del Taco delinquent.
Okay.
A man was arrested after he allegedly broke the window of a Del Taco in Florida because he was denied service, according to the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. Now, point number one, I did not know that Florida had Del Taco.
Yeah,
I thought that was West Coast only.
Yeah. New to me. Yeah.
That's new information and very relevant to my interests. So it was around midnight yesterday when the suspect, Anthony Izzo, pulled into the drive-thru in Port Charlotte, just outside Fort Myers. Employees told Izzo that they were closed and they could not take his order because they had shut the kitchen down and put away the meat. Now, having worked in fast food myself, not at a chain like this, but fast food nonetheless, it always sucks to say, like, "Hey, man, sorry, can't serve you," because you know they're going to be belligerent. It's just a fact of life. You just know that's going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So after walking away, moments later, employees heard loud popping noises, and one worker called 911. She told the operator she heard popping noises that sounded like gunshots near the drive-thru window. And according to the sheriff's office, Izzo had driven up to the window and tried to break it with a pipe wrench that had been in his car. He allegedly hit it 4 times, did indeed crack it, and then drove away. He was tracked to his home on Birchcrest Road, where he was arrested for criminal mischief. He caused approximately $2,000 worth of damage to the drive-thru window. Okay, so he didn't just crack it. He smashed that thing.
Wow. That's wild. All that for Del Taco, which is like, I'd
rather just go to Taco Bell.
Yeah, man, it's pretty mid. Like, even if you go to Taco Bell, they tell you they put away the meat. Okay, I'll get the spicy potato soft tacos. Hook me up.
Give me like 3 cheese roll-ups.
Also, like, I don't care. Like, giving me cold. I don't care. I want Taco Bell.
Yeah. All that for Del Taco is a lot. All right, who wins today? I'm kind of leaning toward the Del Taco story here because
it's not child abuse.
It's not child abuse.
Yeah, kind of with you.
The Del Taco delinquent is our first winner for the week on What Is Wrong With You, sponsored by our buddy Mo. State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle. His website is Ryan Mo Winkle. That's MOHWINKLE.com. Real quick, need to pass this along. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Central Riley and Western Pottawatomie counties until 5:15 p.m. Central Time. At 4:35, a severe thunderstorm is located near Keats, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Radar indicating 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Locations impacted include Manhattan, Westmoreland, Blaine, Ogden, Oldsburg, Wheaton, Keats, and Tuttle Creek Lake. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Again, the National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Central Riley and Western Pottawatomie counties until 5:15 p.m. We'll be back with our buddy Trenton Kraxner on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by our former intern on the program. He is a writer for Royals Review. He's a recent graduate of the University of Kansas. He is the president and chairman of the Chris Stratton fan club. His name is Trenton Kraxner. Trenton, congratulations. Great weekend for you. You graduated. You celebrated a birthday. You got a nifty Chris Stratton poster from your pals at 580 Sports Talk. Huge weekend for you. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And, that poster is going to get a lot more value when Chris Stratton retires in 9 days.
Take me through your emotions on the DFA of your favorite player, Chris Stratton, DFA'd by the Royals yesterday to make room for Jonathan Bolin on the 26-man roster, was carrying a 7.94 ERA in the final year of a 2-year contract. Take us through that roller coaster of emotions that must have been, Trenton.
Well, I was standing on the hill waiting to walk through Campanile yesterday. I had no service, so I didn't even know until like an hour and a half after it happened. So it came as a shock. One, because I thought the Royals would wait till at least the end of this month. And honestly, everyone needs a mop-up guy, so I was starting to get used to the idea of Chris Stratton just being on the team. So it came as a severe shock that the one veteran in the bullpen really is no longer there.
He is no longer there. So who is the new Chris Stratton? How do you think the Royals are going to navigate those games where they're either up or down 8 runs in the 8th inning? Who's going to pitch?
I think the top candidate is probably Jonathan Bolin. But if you're going off of who's really struggled, it should probably be Angel Zerpa right now, because before they both pitched on Friday night, they both pitched like 15 innings and given up each like 13 runs. They had the same amount of innings pitched in ERA. So Angel Zerpa was like the left-handed human flag coming out of the Royals bullpen.
Trenton Kraxner is our guest, former 580 Sports Talk intern, writer for Royals Review, royalsreview.com. Trenton, the big Royals news from the weekend, it was twofold. We spent a little bit of time talking about the bad news, the placing on the injured list of both Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo. Let's talk about the fun news with you. Jack Caglione is on his way to AAA Omaha. This is a little earlier than the Royals typically like to promote their top prospects. Do you think that we are going to see Caglione in a Royals uniform potentially even before the stretch run?
I think it's before the All-Star break. They're really not getting any production, obviously, from the corner outfields. Drew Waters just came back down to earth. Joey Weimer, MJ Melendez, those guys are struggling at AAA. You could make an argument for John Rave, but Hunter Renfroe is probably the next old guy, veteran out of that trio, because Adam Frazier didn't get re-signed. Him, Stratton, and Renfroe, Frazier, and Stratton all came from Mississippi State, or where I remember they made a big deal about that, and he's probably the last leg that's going to get DFA'd, probably the Caglione call. But I think probably the end of June, if the offense still struggles, they're only averaging 3.31 runs per game, which is the worst in the American League, only better than the Rockies and maybe the Marlins. They're like the 28th best in runs per game. The offense just needs another bat, and Caglione gets to start his Omaha career out in Salt Lake City this week, so he might hit a ball 800 feet at some point.
We're talking to Trenton Kraxner, our former intern here on 580 Sports Talk. Any worries, Trenton, with that timeline that you're rushing it with Caglione? Because you're right. I mean, anything that would give this offense a spark is a positive. But, I mean, you're hoping this guy is obviously going to be a cornerstone of this franchise going forward. You would love for him to be at his best, given his age at some point this year. Any worries about rushing him a little bit too much?
I think there's a worry about rushing him, but the Royals need a power bat in their lineup. Like, I just mentioned John Rafe. Nick Lofton's also doing great. He's a guy that could probably step into the corner outfield, but he can't hit the ball over the wall at the major league level. He's more of a contact guy. And if you look up and down the Royals lineup whenever they put it out tonight, outside of Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pasquantino, who do you have confidence to hit a home run right now in that Royals lineup? Salvador Perez became very old, very fast this year. His bat just seems slower. He's hit a lot of doubles, but he hasn't hit a home run in over a month. I think there's always the worry about rushing a young guy, but it's like a can't miss prospect. It's like calling up a Mike Trout or Bobby Witt Jr. because people were frustrated with Bobby Witt Jr. not getting called up because he was just mashing at AA and AAA, but the Royals weren't competing then, so they could still manipulate his arbitration and everything, and they didn't want to waste a year and a lost year already. But I think Caglione could be a spark. And I mean, you kind of look at some of the guys for the A's and some of those other young teams and how they've come up and flourished so far, like Wyatt Langford with the Rangers a couple years ago was really good as a young guy.
The Royals offense stinks, as we know all too well. We were trying to come up with some ideas earlier today for mixing up the lineup, moving guys up and down, putting new guys into the line, more Mark Canha, for example, just trying to come up with ways that Matt Quattrero could manipulate things a little bit to create a spark for this offense. Do you have any ideas for what to do? I said my radical idea was move Witt up to lead off, put Michael Garcia second, and try to create some runs with some Witt speed and some small ball on the base paths. What would be your ideas for trying to mix things up to generate a little bit more from this lineup right now?
Well, we actually talked about this last week, and me and some of the guys from Royals Review, we were talking about how you could switch this, and Robbie Ray going in our left, you're probably going to see Mark Canha in the lineup, at least for tonight. But I think you could move Michael Garcia to the leadoff spot and move Jonathan India down to the 2-hole and have Junior hit third, because Vinny and Sal have not been really good for the most part, driving in runs in critical spots, and you want your best player up in that spot. And then, 4 through 9 kind of becomes something to behold after that. On a typical day, you probably I'd be okay with Vinny hitting fourth. I think for Freddie Fermin's got to be in the lineup a little bit more, especially with Perez not hitting. And I think Fermin at this point is just a better catcher defensively and calls a better game. And you can look at his ERA, the pitching staff's ERA when he's the catcher behind the plate. I think he could be a good guy in the 5 through 9 waters. Maybe you can move up Kyle Isbell, because he's a guy that can bunt. He's hitting about 300 right now. I know you want to have him at 9 for the turnover of the order, but maybe move Kyle. I don't know. You've got to shake some up, because you're the worst offense in the American League. You can't just keep running out. That's the definition of insanity. But, I think a couple moves like that, moving some guys that play every day around, and maybe it catches a spark, because when a lefty pitches, Vinny's been hitting about 6th or 7th. And statistically, when he's hitting 6th or 7th, even though it's a small sample size, he's hitting the ball way better than when he is in the 3-hole. So maybe they'll find a spark if you just move some guys around in the order.
How impressed have you been by Noah Cameron so far?
It's really unfortunate that he gave up a home run the other day and only 2 hits, and the Royals lost. But I think it's a good bridge gap, because some sourcing today says that for the rest of May, you're down Lugo and Ragans at least, and so they're going to kind of have to navigate with a 4-man rotation. Cameron won't start until Friday night's game in Minnesota. It'll be a bullpen game, full-blown bullpen game on Wednesday afternoon in San Francisco. But Noah Cameron's been great because he mixes his pitches, and he's got real good poise for a young lefty. I mean, St. Joe kid, running the 2015 team that he grew up cheering, shut down the interstate rival. Like, it was just meant to be. And I remember Jack Johnson, who does some stuff with Locked On and 810 radio, saw him in spring training, said he has some of the best stuff on the team, along with Steven Cruz. And obviously Cruz has been good out of the bullpen, but Noah Cameron might be a revelation, especially with these injuries and some uncertainty in the starting rotation right now.
A couple more questions for our guy, Trenton Kraxner, writer for Royals Review and former intern here on 580 Sports Talk. Trent, do you think they go bullpen days to cover when they need a 5th starter while Lugo and Ragans are out? Or do you think we could see Luinder Avila make his big league debut? That would seem to be the natural fit because he's already got a 40-man roster spot. Do you think he gets a look?
I think that's a possibility. I'm pretty sure the bullpen game is for sure on Wednesday right now because they just signed Rich Hill, but he just got assigned to the ACL, I believe. And he hasn't ramped up yet. I think maybe the Royals are really benefiting from an off day this Thursday, and then they have another one next Thursday. So they can kind of have an extra day to get guys set up and navigate. I think you could use Jonathan Bowling, though he's been kind of stretched out. Hasn't really been stretched out. He's been mainly bullpen this year in AAA. But the Omaha team is short on pitching depth too right now. They're kind of inconsistent. They're kind of in the same spot as the Royals where they're down a starter. So I don't think they're going to call Adley. They do have 2 open 40-man roster spots. Thomas Hatch is a name that's kind of been thrown out there, a guy that might be able to make a spot start and then get DFA'd potentially if need be, if they have to call a guy back down or whatever for the bullpen. But I don't think Luinder Avila just yet. I think Thomas Hatch, one of those older veterans down that could just get DFA'd. They do have 2 open 40-man roster spots. It'll be interesting to see what they do with those going forward, though.
Trenton, what do you think about the idea of maybe slotting Daniel Lynch IV into a starting spot for a spot start?
That's something that has been floated throughout the organization, but I think they really like having Lynch in the bullpen because he's honestly the only reliable left-handed pitcher that they've had out of the bullpen. Zerpa hasn't been good. Sam Long, before he got hurt, was really struggling. And then they just recalled Evan Sisk, but he's only really lefty-on-lefty guy. He's not really done well against right. So I think Lynch is kind of the guy that they really need as a lockdown lefty in the bullpen. If he doesn't pitch these first 2 games, if Bubic and Lorenzen tomorrow are able to give the Royals good length and not have to maybe use Daniel Lynch, I could see him and Jonathan Bowling kind of getting 2-3 innings maybe each to open that game on Wednesday and see how it goes. But Lynch was fighting for a starting spot in spring training, but I don't think the Royals are looking towards moving him forward because even in his outings so far this year, he hasn't really gone more than an inning and a third, inning and 2/3, anything like that.
Trenton Kraxner, he's all grown up. He was our former intern. He's writing for Royals Review. He's a college man, college graduate, and he joins us here on 580 Sports Talk.
Should also know older than some Washburn players now. Should note that as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Are we hearing reports of washness for Trenton Kraxner? Is that what we're hearing?
That's what I've heard.
Life comes at you fast.
Trenton, that was fun, buddy. Thanks for coming on. We'll have to do it again.
All right. Thank you, guys.
That is Trenton Kraxner. We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up the 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Got to pass along a couple of weather updates from the Capital Federal Weather Center before we hit the top of the hour here. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Wabaunsee and northwestern Lyon counties until 5:45 p.m. At 4:52 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located 7 miles northwest of Bushong, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Radar indicating 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, half-dollar size hail. Locations impacted include Eskridge. This includes Interstate 70 near mile marker 332. So it is a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Wabaunsee and northwestern Lyon counties until 5:45. A severe thunderstorm warning continues for central Riley and western Pottawatomie counties until 5:15 p.m. Central Time, including northeastern Manhattan, Westmoreland, Blaine, Oldsburg, Wheaton, and Tuttle Creek Lake. We'll have more weather as the events warrant. We'll have more 580 Sports Talk coming up after the national and local news. Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk, hour number 3 on a Monday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. We're so glad you're here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video stream. We're live on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk, name of the channel. We're also live on Facebook, WIBW News. Dan, Brendan, Spencer, the Power Trio. We're hanging out with you. We got one more hour today. Royals baseball, 8 p.m. pregame coverage tonight. 8:45 first pitch in San Francisco as the Royals and the Giants embark upon a 3-game series. We'll preview that game a little bit later on this hour. 2 8:45 first pitches and a Wednesday first pitch of 2:45 p.m., which means effectively a day off for your pals at 580 Sports Talk. We will cover any airtime necessary between 3 and 6, but with a 2:45 first pitch, probably won't be a lot. So not much of a show for you on Wednesday, we will tell you. We will enjoy that and, be back to...
Hopefully you will too.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a Royals win. We can all feel good about it.
Enjoy the ball game. You guys know who my favorite team is. They've never played well in that ballpark in San Francisco. So I see it, and I just assume bad things are going to happen with the dumpster ducks flying over the ballpark trying to scoop up garlic fries in the 9th inning of a game.
Garlic fries sound pretty good right now.
Garlic fries go so crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, some of the best ballpark food I ever had was it. I don't remember what it was called back then, but I went and visited that park. What, 2000, I think?
Pac Bell
It was Pac Bell Park.
Pac Bell Park.
I think you're right. Yeah, it was 2000. I think I went to go see it. 2000, 2001. It was one of those summers. And yeah, man, the garlic fries. You get like a bowl of clam chowder. Like
it sounds
in the
delicious.
Bread bowl. Like the garlic fries went so crazy. I can't even tell you. I think that's probably the best food. It's up there. The best food I've ever had at a ballpark.
I believe it.
There's nothing that beats just like a hot dog with however you want to top it. I'm not going to have that fight with people today. It's a Monday. I don't want to bring hostility into people's lives. However you want to top a ballpark hot dog is fine. For me, mustard. If you want to put some onions on it, you got some chopped onion, that's great too. You want to put anything else on it? You personally do what you want.
Ketchup.
Don't be embarrassed. No.
No, we're not fighting.
Ketchup belongs on a hot dog.
I'm going to give you the hottest take about where I come from. If you're weird about people putting ketchup on a hot dog, I'm just going to assume you were treated poorly as a child. Like you're wrong. It's a hot dog, dude. It's literally like mangled pig intestine. You have no one on earth has any right to be weird about what you put on mangled pig intestine. No. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, put whatever you want on your hot dog. Like I don't.
Gotta say it with your chest.
Yeah, I don't.
Ketchup.
I don't put ketchup on hot dogs. I think they're just fine with mustard and chopped onion.
See, I'll put anything on it but mustard.
Yeah,
my mustard's fine. If you're here's a hot dog with the fixins and there's mustard, fine. I can live with it.
Sure.
But if I'm putting it on myself, probably no mustard.
If you hand me a dog with ketchup already on it, I'm not gonna return to sender.
Yeah.
But my preference, if I'm dressing my own dog, mustard, and if there are chopped sliced onions, I'm going to put some of those on there. If there are caramelized onions, even better.
I do like the electric green ballpark relish. You can't get it that color green at home.
No, it's an unnatural color. Frankly,
it's electrifying.
It looks like the inanimate carbon rod from The Simpsons. Like it's that color green.
Mark B on YouTube mentions a good chili cheese dog. Yeah, I'll put chili cheese on a hot dog. Oh, yeah.
Listen, absolutely. I will absolutely do that as well. You can jump into the live chat if you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Yeah, now I really want
to be in Chicago this weekend. I might have to go find a good Chicago dog.
Go get you a real dog. Hit a Portillo's or...
I might have to go get Portillo's. Get Devil Dogs downtown. Yeah.
You can text the show as well, 785-272-9429. Do have go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna have to go to Portillo's, my place. I gotta give a shout out back on the show. My guy Paul's Pizza and Hot Dogs. No one ever gets the pizza or hot dogs there. Closed down this week out of nowhere. That was my place.
That's tough.
R.I.P. to the 9-inch beef. Man,
heartbreaking.
It truly was.
Before we continue further here on 580 Sports Talk, do have another weather update to pass along to you from the Capital Federal Weather Center. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for northeastern Potawatomi, south central Nemaha, and northwestern Jackson counties until 5:45 p.m. Central Time. At 5:06 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located 6 miles west of Emmett, moving north at 30 miles per hour. Radar indicating 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and half-dollar size hail. Locations impacted in this storm include Onega, Emmett, Circleville, Soldier, and Havensville. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning issued for northeastern Potawatomi, south central Nemaha, and northwestern Jackson counties until 5:45 p.m. Central Time. This is in addition to the severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 5:45 p.m. for southeastern Wabaunsee County. Latest update on that one at 5:05, a severe thunderstorm was located 10 miles southwest of Eskridge, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Radar indicating ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. With that storm, locations impacted include Eskridge and Interstate 70 near mile marker 332. Prepare immediately in this storm for large hail and damaging winds. People outside should move to a shelter, inside a strong building, and away from windows. Again, that is the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southeastern Wabaunsee County, including Eskridge, until 5:45 p.m. Central Time. There is also, for another 3 minutes, still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for north central Riley and northwestern Potawatomi counties as well. We will continue to keep you posted on what could be a wild weather night here in northeastern Kansas and the surrounding. And in fact, we have another warning to pass along just now. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Potawatomi, southwestern Nemaha, and southeastern Marshall counties until 6 p.m. Central Time. At 5:11 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Westmoreland, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour, with radar indicating ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Locations impacted include Westmoreland, Blaine, Onega, Havensville, Wheaton, and Lillis. People and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, siding, windows, and vehicles. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Again, that is a new National Weather Service severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Potawatomi, southwestern Nemaha, and southeastern Marshall counties. I may have misspoken. Southwestern Nemaha County and southeastern Marshall County, in addition to northeastern Potawatomi County until 6 p.m. There is a warning for northeastern Potawatomi, south central Nemaha, and northwestern Jackson counties that is separate until 5:45 Central Time. Keeping an eye on all those storms tonight in our listening areas here on 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW as we go along here this evening. While we have a moment, let's do our 580 Sports Talk headlines, shall we? Let's jump into some headlines. We got quite a few 580 Sports Talk headlines today. Let's start. I'm going to do the baseball one. We're going to start with some baseball.
Let's do it.
From D1Baseball.com.
Because guess what? I got some thoughts.
KU Baseball ranked 21st by Baseball America. Heading into the Big 12 tournament, the Big 12 baseball tournament has been set. We have the bracket for the action, including what time you can hear the Batcats, Kansas State baseball, on 580 WIBW for the first round of the tournament. It is, once again, at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, and this year, a single elimination format with 4 buys. So no double elimination in the tournament this year. The top 4 seeds all get buys, and the 5 through the 12 seeds will play each other. K-State is the number 6 seed in the Big 12 tournament. They'll play number 11 seed Houston at 8 p.m. Wednesday night. That game will be broadcast on ESPN2. You can also catch it right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9 with pregame at 7:30 on Wednesday night. Kansas is the number 2 seed in the Big 12. They will play the winner between 7 seed Oklahoma State and 10 seed Baylor. That game would be at 4 p.m. on Thursday. If Kansas State wins, they would advance to play the 3rd seed TCU. Now, Kansas is the 2 seed and West Virginia is the 1 seed because West Virginia won the Big 12 with a huge assist from Mother Nature, it would appear.
Fraudulent. Let's put the word on it. Fraudulent. They had 2 games canceled in conference play due to weather. And that is the only reason why, thanks to their winning percentage, they won the Big 12 conference. KU won more games, 20 wins, the only Big 12 team to win 20 games. I think it is ridiculous to cancel conference games. Play them again. Play them. Find a way to play them. A conference game? You're not playing Frostburg State on a Tuesday afternoon. This is the Big 12, man. This is real ball. And you're going to claim a conference title on a technicality? Embarrassing.
And to go on top of that, they claimed that conference title after they got shut out by KU on Friday night.
KU took belt to backside this weekend against West Virginia. Whooped them in Morgantown.
Yep.
Now, I will say, in fairness to fans of West Virginia, based on my reading online earlier today, every single Mountaineer baseball fan was like, oh, yeah, we're total frauds. Like, we're going to get our butts whipped in the tournament. Like, we have no chance. They all seem to be totally out because they have sucked it up for a couple weeks now. They were awesome to start the year, really have kind of fallen off.
They lost to my alma mater.
Yeah, they lost to Marshall. They struggled against K-State. They got swept by KU.
They barely beat Marshall the first time around, or one of the times around in Huntington. It was a bad pitch. Wild pitch.
Don't think we need the play-by-play of the West Virginia Marshall game.
They have been struggling as of late.
It took bad play by the other team for them to win.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You can't cancel conference games. What kind of Mickey Mouse league is this?
Yeah, so West Virginia finished 19-9 in the Big 12. Kansas 20-10. So by winning percentage, West Virginia takes the Big 12. If they played the two games, then it would have, if West Virginia had split those two games, it would have come down to a head-to-head tiebreaker, which Kansas would have had. If they had played those two games and lost them both, they would have fallen behind Kansas. If they played the game and won them both, they would have won the league outright. And then you can't really say anything. Yeah. But yeah, it is unfortunate that that's how it goes. But baseball is an outdoor sport, and you've got cold weather states in this league. And so
that Cincinnati series for KU now is so maddening. That's not even a good Cincinnati team.
Yeah. No. So that's how the bracket looks. There's another Big 12 headline, and I think this is really good for Big 12 baseball. Surprise stadium to host Big 12 baseball championship starting in 2026. It is not a surprise in the sense that they will reveal it like the day of the tournament. Like,
you're so sick.
Ta-da! You're going to play at. You're not even playing at a baseball stadium. You're playing at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Surprise! No, they're playing in Surprise, Arizona. That is, of course, the spring training home of the Kansas City Royals and the Texas Rangers, one of the best spring training facilities in the country. And starting in 2026, it will be the new host site for the Big 12 Baseball Championship. It will not be indoors. It will not be in front of 40,000 empty chairs. Surprise Stadium seats just under 11,000. It will be a good atmosphere. It will be a great weather situation in Arizona in May. Well done. Kudos to the Big 12 for getting this done, taking advantage of the fact that this is in your footprint now and moving the conference tournament to a place, A, that makes sense, B, you can play outdoors, C, you don't have to worry about cancellations, and D, it'll look better and sound better and feel better with the fans that do make it to the tournament.
Yeah, no, this is good. Spencer pointed it out to me earlier. Like, hey, man, like 40,300 seats in Arlington, under 11,000. That's 10-7 at Surprise Stadium. I'd rather play in a smaller ballpark with a good environment outdoors than in a warehouse.
Where you can hear everything.
Yeah, the ball pinging off of empty seats on a foul ball. Yeah, I was reticent to support this at first, but now I'm cool with it. Also, maybe this will make some of the whiny Arizona fans shut up about the Big 12 tournament's being played in Kansas City for basketball. Why not put it in Vegas? Maybe this will get them to calm down for a minute and a half. I'm cool with it.
All right, next headline, Brendan.
All right, next one for me. I am going to go to a group of headlines from the NFL today. We will start with one. This broke as we were hanging up the phone with Matt Verderame a little bit earlier today. But Fred Warner has a new contract with the San Francisco 49ers, and he is now the highest paid linebacker in NFL history. From the wording of Adam Schefter at ESPN, four-time All-Pro Fred Warner and the 49ers reached agreement on a 3-year, $63 million contract extension, including $56 million in guaranteed money, making him the NFL's highest paid linebacker. Warner enters this season. It'll be his age 29 season. Again, four-time All-Pro. He is the best linebacker in football. He's a Hall of Famer. Real good dude, good charity guy. Like, he's just awesome guy to root for, awesome guy to watch play. I know all of our teams are in the NFC and hate playing against him, but he's a star. He is absolutely awesome.
I still think he's the best softball linebacker in the league.
Yes, without question. Now, my only question about that is if this extension begins at the end of his current deal or if this wipes out his current deal. He's technically under contract for 25 and 26 on his old $92 million contract with a couple void years at the end. So I don't know if this is a new deal or what, but he's getting paid big time and he deserves it right through his prime. He is an absolutely awesome player. A couple other quick notes from the NFL. One note on the Brock Purdy contract. Not only did he get all that money, you know what else he got? It's a rarity in the NFL. A no trade clause. NFL players do not get those very often. However, Brock Purdy got one. He is the guy. For better or for worse, he is the guy in San Francisco going forward. Also, contract news today. We knew this was coming, but it has been made official. The Eagles have agreed to a multi-year extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. Deserved. He's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. He won the Super Bowl this year. As soon as they have a 3-game losing streak, Eagles fans will demand him to be fired. That's Philly.
Yes.
That's what they do. It is going to happen. One note also from the league meeting. Couple notes, in fact, from the league meetings. We'll go quickly through these. Ian Rappaport of NFL Network put a video on Blue Sky earlier today. I won't play the whole thing for you, but he believes that the tush push will be changed. He does think there is going to be a change. He said in this video, again, this is Ian Rappaport saying, he has the feeling the most likely outcome is it will just, they'll take out some of the nonsense language we talked about last week, and it will become, you cannot push a player. Wherever you are in the field, they will throw a penalty flag for pushing or pulling a player the way the rule was written for 85 years. Mm-hmm. That is going to be disallowed. He also mentioned, and Albert Breer brought this up as well from Sports Illustrated, they might change the rule to, instead of a penalty, they just blow the play dead. You push a player, whistle. And it's just over that way. I don't know that I love that. I think I'd rather have them play it all the way through. But either way, Ian Rappaport believes that rule will be changed at the league meetings, despite the fact the Eagles are lobbying other owners this week to vote to keep the rule in place. Also this, Dan, you asked about it earlier today with Matt as well. The Lions' proposal to change the way the playoffs are formatted based on record as opposed to based on just division winners and then by record. So there has been a change to the proposal. Let me see if I can find this here. The reading of the rule, the suggested rule, now says they will keep, this is from The Athletic. The Lions' new proposal is that they will leave the wild card round alone. There will be no changes. 1 through 4 are your division winners. 5, 6, 7 are the wild cards. That will stay. They'll just change how they reseed in the divisional round. So as opposed to the number 1 seed will play the team with the lowest seed, this would change it to they'd play the team with the worst record. I like this a little bit better, to be honest with you. I still don't love it. But that is your update on the owners' meetings going on this week in Minnesota. We should know the final votes on those by Wednesday.
Spencer, give me a headline.
I'll give you 2 headlines here. I'll start first with the bigger headline as it relates to a individual from Topeka. Nyjah Kennedy is once again a finalist for the USA Softball's National Player of the Year award. If you remember, she won that last year. She's had a phenomenal season after she transferred from Stanford to Texas Tech. And to go along with that, Texas Tech is in the NCAA Super Regionals. They will travel to Florida State for games beginning Thursday through Saturday for the Super Regionals. They swept the regionals that they hosted in Lubbock. 6-0 win over Brown, 10-1 win over Mississippi State in 6 innings, and they wrapped it up with beating Mississippi State again 9-6 in the final game. She had 2 homers. She pitched 10 innings, gave up 13 hits, gave up 4 earned runs while striking out 9 over 10 innings, as I mentioned, the final 2 games, and hit in the first 2 games.
So this is the first time Texas Tech softball's ever been to a super regional.
Yes.
And you heard it mentioned 2 home runs being hit. Nyjah Kennedy didn't get to really bat at Stanford.
No.
And I don't think it was the reason that she transferred from Stanford. I don't think it was the primary or even like much of a secondary reason. But I know from reporting that when she was in the transfer portal, one of the considerations for where she would end up was, I'd kind of like to hit. All she did this year was hit 318 with 10 home runs and slug 716 when they let her bat.
It's unbelievable.
And posted a .92 ERA with 272 strikeouts.
She's incredible.
She's the best softball player in America.
Without question. She's one of the best college softball players ever.
Yes, like she is going to be in all-timer conversations. Yes. Probably already is. She wins this award again. Remarkable career for Nyjah Kennedy. Let's get another headline in real quick. Just a couple of things that we'll throw together from the gentleman's sport and the sport of kings from the weekend. We've talked enough about them last week. We may as well follow up and tell folks that journalism won the 150th Preakness Stakes.
That's right.
It was a fabulous finish and there was some rubbing. Rubbin racing?
Rubbin's racing.
Rubbin is racing.
Even in horse racing, apparently, rubbin is racing. But journalism able to edge out the field. Gosger was second by half a length. Sandman third. Goal-oriented coming in fourth. Journalism, the winner of the 150th running of the Preakness Stakes on Saturday. Also at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, Scotty Scheffler defeats the rest of the field by 5 shots, even with an 18th hole bogey to win his third career major, in addition to the 2024 and 2023 Masters. The 29-year-old number 1 ranked player in the world took a 3-shot lead into Sunday and watched the field behind him, really unable to make a run. John Rahm did make it interesting, got within a shot, but absolutely crapped the bed down the stretch, making double bogeys on each of his final 2 holes to finish well out of the running. A 5-shot victory. Bryson DeChambeau, one of a group of players who finished at 6 under par. Scheffler 11 under par for the tournament. A 5-shot win. It's kind of cool that we are in an era of golf where all the majors are being won by the best guys. Like the best guys are winning the majors. Rory won the Masters. Xander Schauffele won a pair of majors last year. Scotty won the Masters. DeChambeau won the U.S. Open. I think it's good when it's the big guns. On Sunday, it was, we thought we pretty sure it was going to be Scheffler, but then the names that popped up and made a real challenge were DeChambeau and Rahm. That's a big deal for golf. It makes you want to watch. It makes you want to watch the best players. And I loved the story of Scheffler. The only problem he had mid-round on Sunday, his drive was was not real good. He kept missing left. And his caddy told him, hey, maybe you're aiming too far to the left. Try aiming to the right. And he striped his drive on 10 and didn't miss a fairway like the rest of the tournament.
Hey,
incredible.
He also did not get arrested this weekend.
Yes, that was crucial.
Big win.
Him winning the PGA. Unlike last year, he did not get arrested.
Can we do one more quick one here?
Yes, we can.
A note from Kansas State basketball. Jerome Tang has added a new member to the roster for the long term. This headline from 580WIBW.com.
Hey, go to 580WIBW.com for the latest.
Yeah, you can read the full write-up there. But K-State basketball adds JUCO transfer Stephen Osai is what we're going to go with here. 6'10 junior college transfer. Joe Tipton of On3 Sports says that the plan is that Osai will redshirt in 25-26 and will be back to active play coming up in 26-27. Spent 1 season at Casper College in Wyoming, averaged 11-7, led his team to a 25-7 record, shot 64% from the floor. Only had mid-major offers other than K-State, but that's an okay player to redshirt. And
yes,
now with walk-ons kind of out of the game, this is a good player to have at the end of your bench for the long term.
You do need developmental guys.
One interesting note, he was JUCO teammates with Abdul Bashir, who's committed to Auburn. He was a big-time JUCO commit this year. Abdul's brother is Abdi Bashir, who is committed to Kansas State.
Yes, the transfer from Monmouth.
Yep.
Thank you for that headline. Check out our website, 580WIBW.com. We got a playoff roundup to do. The Final Fours are set in both the NHL and the NBA. Let's get there.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
No matter who you are, who you root for, where your favorite teams lost in the postseasons in any sport, you at least get to point and laugh at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because at least you're not them. They have not won a Stanley Cup since 1967, and despite some of the best collections of high-end talent in the sport over the last handful of years. They've now lost 7 consecutive Game 7s. They didn't just lose. They got humiliated on their home ice last night, losing to the defending champion Florida Panthers 6-1 in Game 7 of that Eastern Conference semifinal. That is, again, 7 consecutive Game 7 losses. This core group led by Austin Matthews has yet to even make it out of the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Looks great doing it, though. Great uniforms.
The conference finals are set out west. It will be Edmonton and Dallas for a second straight year. Edmonton won that last year. Florida and Carolina in the Eastern Conference. We're down to the semis real quick. Who you guys got?
Carolina and Dallas.
Carolina and Dallas?
Yeah, give me Edmonton and Carolina.
I'm going to go with Florida and Dallas. I think that is what we're going to. We all went different directions there. Yeah. In the NBA yesterday afternoon, the Oklahoma City Thunder defeated the Denver Nuggets in the 7th game of their Western Conference semifinal series, 125-93. I think it's cool that the Thunder can just foul whenever they want and the officials don't call it. I think that's awesome. I think that's really good for them. I think that Alex Caruso would be working at a Burger King if they would call him with a fair whistle.
All right.
They got a bunch of guys. Like, we were talking about this off the air. Like, the Thunder are objectively good. They're a 68-win team. They have the best point differential in NBA history. I think they're going to cruise to the title now. I think they proved what they had to prove against a team with championship mettle like the Nuggets. The Nuggets just ran out of steam. They ran out of guys.
That's true.
Michael Porter Jr. had one arm and Aaron Gordon had one leg for Game 7 after suffering a hamstring strain in Game 6. Yeah, they were just out of steam. There was no further that they could go. As a fan of the Nuggets, they gave everything they could until they couldn't give any more. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed. I'm bummed, but that's the way it goes. Oklahoma City just fouls. Like, I know they're the only top 5 defense left in the NBA. It's because they foul all the time, and they dare the referees to blow the whistle every single time down. And they don't do it. Like, they've got SGA is going to win the MVP, and that's going to look better historically because he's going to win the title this year. Chet Holmgren is a good player, even if he misses half the games. Jalen Williams is a very good role player who made the All-Star team this year. And then the rest of their good guys are hockey goons. Like Hartenstein, goon. Caruso, goon. Lou Dort, goon. Skilled basketball players? Nope. But they foul. And they foul incessantly. And they keep fouling. And they dare the officials to call it, and they never do. And if they can keep doing it for like 10 more games, they're going to win the NBA championship.
You are my friend and you are hurting, so I'm not going to say anything about the 2013 and 14 Seattle Seahawks.
What about them?
Just fouling a lot.
It's a different sport. Basketball's not football. If you want to make basketball football, put them in helmets. Put them in helmets. Honest to God, Nikola Jokic should come out and play games wearing a flak jacket.
You know, I do wonder in games like that, though, like, because I did not see the entire game. We were busy. We were at Trenton's graduation party.
Yes.
I did not watch the entire game. I watched part of it, and I did see a couple clips. Like, Caruso was doing the mouse versus elephant thing, like just like getting up under his arm and like sticking the elbow.
And they got the friggin' nerve at the Athletic to call that a defensive masterclass. He's fouling him. Call the damn foul.
I wonder what would happen. And I'm not trying to like make a point here. I'm genuinely curious. What if the Nuggets come out in the second half and Jokic is like throwing elbows? Like I genuinely don't know, because sometimes, well, shoot, gotta call it both ways. And sometimes it's like, well, we can't do this for both teams. So I wonder how different maybe it doesn't look any different, honestly. I mean, they won by 1 million, but I wonder how different the game looks if it's like, hey, MPJ, you don't play a lot of defense. What if you just like go kick guys?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you go trip? See what happens?
Why don't you just throw your forearm into dude's chest out on the perimeter like Lou Dort does every time they're dribbling the ball?
I will say I do not like watching Lou Dort play basketball.
No,
I do not enjoy it.
They're goons. They're not unskilled basketball players. But hey, it works.
I'm sorry, I'm taking this way too long. Winner of the West. Don't care who comes out of the East. Winner of the West wins the whole thing.
I think so too. Yeah. I would be surprised if the Thunder lose more playoff games from here than they did in the Nuggets series. I think they're gonna have a pretty easy time with an unserious Wolves team that hasn't been tested, and I don't think the Eastern teams are. I think
they're gonna beat each other up and get swept.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about the East.
Also, they could play the rest of the NBA playoffs in my driveway, and I wouldn't watch a second. That concludes the playoff roundup. That concludes our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We're back with more 580 Sports Talk. A thought about the Chiefs and rest days coming up next on 580 WIBW. 538 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer. Brendan, you found this chart sifting around the internet about days of rest for NFL teams. Now, when we think of days of rest, we think about the traditional 6 days of rest. You play on Sunday, you get 6 days of rest, you play again on Sunday. You have fewer days, obviously, if you've got the Monday to Sunday turnaround or the Sunday to Thursday turnaround, but you get more days of rest on the Thursday to Sunday turnaround, so you get some of that back. The end of the day, though, we think about the Chiefs and the way that they're scheduled, and we look at, 2 years ago, they played in every time slot on like every possible day you could play.
Yep.
And last year, they had the 3 games in 11 days around Christmas with the Wednesday Christmas game. So we tend to think about the Chiefs as being disadvantaged by a lack of rest. But over the years, that hasn't really been the case, and it doesn't look like it's going to be the case in 2025 either.
No, so I found this on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, the Everything app, from a user by the name of San Francisco Data Niners. You said it like Chris Berman and Tom Jackson, and it's a lot of fun. So it's from 2019 through this upcoming schedule, the net rest days. So again, depends on when your bye week is. When are you playing Thursday? Do you play a Wednesday, a Friday, whatever? The net days of rest. The number one leader this year included over the last 7 seasons now, the Detroit Lions have gotten 40 plus 48 extra days of rest in the NFL. They have a built-in Thursday every year. If you have a late bye week and you don't play week 11 and then you play Thanksgiving in week 12 or week 13, okay, yeah, you're going to get a lot of extra bye time there. So there's a couple different factors that play into this. Are you traveling overseas, et cetera, et cetera? So the Kansas City Chiefs this coming season have 2 extra days of rest above the league average, which is tied for 14th. It is right in the middle of the entire NFL. But over the last 7 years, they have been 5th. They are 5th in terms of most additional days of rest of anybody in the NFL, plus 21. The Cowboys, the other Thanksgiving Day team, which is notable, the 2 Thanksgiving teams, they're 1 and 2. Carolina, Arizona, and then the Chiefs. Those are your top 5. All of them 21 or more extra days of rest. Again, the Lions plus 48, which is ridiculous. They also get put on Thursday a lot, which outside of Thanksgiving. So you get, if you put a bye either before or after that game, you're off for a really long time. So for the Chiefs this year, about a net neutral. Over time, though, they've been in a pretty favorable spot. In fact, not only are they 5th overall this year, this is the 6th time in the last 7 years that they're a net positive in rest days. The only exception was 2023. That team was kind of gross to watch for a lot of the year. They traveled overseas. Remember, they played in Germany against the Dolphins, a defensive masterclass from Steve Spagnuolo's team. Trent McDuffie forced that fumble by Tyreek Hill. What a narrative play that was. That's the only time since 2019 they've been a net negative in rest days. And you might be saying, okay, this sounds worthless. Like, I don't think this matters at all. Mitch Holthus brings this up to us at least once every season. And if it's good enough for Mitch, it is good enough for me. So that's where the Chiefs stand. How about where their opponents stand? This is, to me, a lot more interesting. Well, one, we talked about, this part of the schedule is tough for the Chiefs. They got to play on all these different days of the week. They're actually getting more rest than average than their opponents. So that, I'd consider that a win if you're Kansas City. The Chiefs' opponents this season are a combined minus 16 in net days of extra rest. So on average, Chiefs are going to be playing against teams that are a little bit more worn out, that are playing on shorter weeks more often, that are having bye weeks at less opportune times relative to a Monday night or a Thursday night game. Minus 16 for the whole season. The first 6 weeks, their opponents are 27 days in the black, plus 27. So the first 6 games, the earliest part of the year, when in theory, everyone should still be rested and healthy going into the early to mid part of October, plus 27. The Lions, again, number 1, they get all sorts of extra rest days. The rest of the year, week 7 through 18, minus 43. Those teams are playing on short weeks. Their buys are already done with early in the season. They're turning around Sunday to Thursday and then right back on. They don't get their bye week after, before that, anything like that. They're playing international games, etc. So we're talking about the other day when the schedule's released, the hard games are early. The more difficult games on paper are in the back half of the season after the Chiefs have their Week 10 bye. Now we're talking about a schedule in which the teams in the back end not only are the quote-unquote easier opponents, they're also all going to be tired because they're all playing on short weeks as the year goes on. And I only counted the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders once each. I did not double count those, or it would have been even worse. So this, to me, is actually fascinating and kind of lends credence to what we were talking about last week and what Matt Verderame told us a little bit earlier on. This Chiefs schedule shakes out pretty well. And if you can get through that early portion of the season, I'm not saying they're going to go undefeated through the first 9 games, but if you can go 7-2, maybe 8-1, if you really get on a heater, you might have another 15-2 or 16-1 season if you're Kansas City, because and a lot of factors go into it. I understand that. But a lot of different variables are lining up to put the Chiefs in a pretty favorable spot here.
The teams getting hosed the most this year in terms of rest days, the Raiders -19 over average, the Saints -14, and the Commanders -13. The teams benefiting the most from extra rest, Detroit +13 days, Miami and the Rams +11 days of rest.
Imagine being the Raiders and getting so much less rest than anybody else. Like, we don't need that extra obstacle.
No. Yeah.
Why are you doing that to us?
We'll take a break. When we come back, Royals, Giants, some late night West Coast baseball. We'll preview it next on 580 Sports Talk. .547 on 580 Sports Talk. We do have some more severe weather alerts to pass along from the Capitol Federal Weather Center. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Wabunsee County and northwestern Lyon County until 6:30 p.m. tonight. At 5:43 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located 7 miles northwest of Allen, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. Radar indicating 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and ping-pong ball-size hail with this storm. People and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect hail damage to roof, siding, windows, and vehicles. Expect considerable tree damage. Wind damage is also likely to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. Locations impacted include Eskridge, Harveyville, and Keene. This includes I-70 between mile markers 344 and 345. Prepare immediately for large hail and damaging winds. People outside should move immediately to shelter inside a strong building. Stay away from windows. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Wabunsee and northwestern Lyon counties until 6:30 p.m. tonight. There are ongoing severe thunderstorm warnings for northeastern Potawatomi, southwestern Nemaha, and southeastern Marshall counties. At last check, that severe thunderstorm was located over Onega and impacts Westmoreland, Blaine, Onega, Havensville, Wheaton, and Lillis. There is also a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Riley, northwestern Wabunsee, and southeastern Potawatomi counties. They kind of fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. That severe thunderstorm was located near Louisville about 20 minutes ago, impacting Wamego, St. George, Bellevue, Emmett, and Louisville. This includes I-70 between mile markers 317 and 325. So these severe thunderstorm warnings all in effect. And, of course, the entire area remains in a tornado watch until 9 p.m. An update on that storm from northeastern Potawatomi, southwestern Nemaha, and southeastern Marshall counties. That storm was located near Havensville just about 2 minutes ago. Trained weather spotters observing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and half-dollar-sized hail. Locations impacted include Westmoreland, Onega, Havensville, Wheaton, and Lillis. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of the building. Also have those other storms that are continuing to be severe, and we'll keep track of them all night here tonight on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Royals baseball will be heard tonight on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. We got the Royals and the Giants, a little NL West action. So the Giants having a good year. Did you know Wilmer Flores leads the National League in RBI?
I actually did.
What is that?
Yeah, it's crazy. Remember when he cried when he thought he got traded by the Mets?
It's the only thing people remember about Wilmer Flores.
It is. Except now he leads baseball in RBIs.
Yes, out to an outstanding start. So are the Giants, 28-19. That's only good enough for third place in the loaded National League West. Battle of lefties tonight. Chris Bubich on the mound for Kansas City, looking to continue his outstanding start to the year. Robbie Ray on the mound for the Giants. The Giants are undefeated when Robbie Ray starts this season. Do you remember what team Robbie Ray won his Cy Young for? Did you remember he had won a Cy Young?
Yes, he won it with the Rays.
No.
Blue Jays. Won it with the Blue Jays.
That is correct. Yeah. 2021 is only full year with Toronto. We went 13-7 with a 2.84 ERA and led baseball with 248 strikeouts.
One that got away. He was a Nationals draft pick.
Oh, didn't know that. Came up as a Tiger, debuted as a Tiger, spent a bunch of years with Arizona, was pretty good. Always walked a bunch of guys and leads the National League in free passes this year. So he'll walk you, but he'll also strike you out.
The Nats got Doug Fister.
Ace pitcher.
Yeah.
Doug Fister was a good pitcher.
Dude was like 7 foot tall.
Yeah, he was a big guy. He threw a no-hitter. Or I might be confusing with Mike Fiers, but Doug Fister was a good pitcher for a long time. Anyhow, the lineups tonight, no big changes for the Royals. We suggested at the top of the show, maybe it's time to shake things up. Things are not shaken up. Jonathan India is back in the lineup. He's DHing and leading off. Bobby Witt Jr. at short. Say it with me. Vinny Pasquantino at first. Salvador Perez behind the plate. Michael Garcia is at third, batting fifth. Mark Canha is in the lineup against the Southpaw tonight. He'll bat sixth and play left field. Michael Massey batting seventh at second base. Hunter Renfroe in right field bats eighth. Kyle Isbell's in center batting ninth in support of Chris Bubich. The lineup for the Giants. Elliot Ramos will lead off in left field, followed by National League RBI leader Wilmer Flores DHing. And is it Jung-Ho Lee? Yeah, Jung-Ho Lee.
Yeah.
J.H. Lee, as he's referred to on the back of his jersey. He's in center field batting third. Matt Chapman is the cleanup hitter at third base. Willie Adames, the big free agent splurge for the Giants, who hasn't really gotten going this year. He is playing short batting fifth. Casey Schmidt just recalled from the injured list and back with the big club. He's going to play first and bat sixth. Tyler Fitzgerald is the second baseman batting seventh. It is Luis Matos in right field batting eighth, and Sam Huff does the catching batting ninth, not the former Giant, New York Giant.
You are thinking of Mike Fiers, who threw 2 no-hitters.
Yes, he did.
2015 and 2019.
And also ratted on the trash can gate
Correct.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doug Fister once took a no-hitter into the 7th inning of a game in 2010.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's not what I was thinking of. I just had him confused with Mike Fiers.
If you can name the 2010s Baltimore Oriole who broke up his no-hitter, I will be very impressed.
Chris Davis.
No.
2010s Baltimore Oriole?
Literally in 2010.
Oh, 2010.
Yes. So he played for them in that era.
Melvin Mora.
No.
Nolan Reimold.
No.
Brian Roberts.
No.
Matt Wieters.
Matt Wieters. That's
No.
where I was going to go.
I can't believe it's taken this long.
Corey Patterson.
No. God, he sucked. No.
The outfielder, center fielder?
Nick Markakis.
Nick Markakis. If you said Oriole from the 2010s, I think Nick Markakis would be my first pick.
That should have been
I
my
would have
first
said
guess.
Adam Jones.
Adam Jones was sick.
Yeah, he came along a little later. He was on those playoff teams in the mid-2010s. He might have been a little later than 2010.
Hey, great player.
We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up 580 Sports Talk next. Time for a final word to wrap up this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Brendan Dworzinski, lay it on me.
Final word for me today is that I hope the Royals do something to shake up the lineup at some point if they can't get things going. There's reason to believe that Salvador Perez especially, and even Vinny Pasquantino can get it turned around somewhat. But until we get to that point, you have to find a way to score runs and help out your suddenly thinner pitching staff. Do something to mix it up.
Spencer Dupuis, final word.
Yeah, Jack Caglione getting the call up to AAA, and kind of earlier than I had anticipated. I thought we were going to go maybe the end of this month, maybe into June, but you never know when he could end up coming up to the major leagues with the way the timeline that they have for him now.
My final word, I love me a pitchability lefty, and that's what the Royals seem to have stumbled upon with Noah Cameron, who worked his way up from the minor leagues and has put together 2 impressive big league starts to begin his career. His proficiency in those first 2 starts has given a little hope that the Royals can survive this difficult stretch coming up these next couple of weeks in which both Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo will be on the injured list. Nicely done for the St. Joseph, Missouri native, Noah Cameron. That'll do it for us. Royals baseball pregame at 8 o'clock tonight, 8:45, first pitch from San Francisco. We'll be back tomorrow from 3 until 6 for Brendan Dworzinski and Spencer Dupuis. I'm Dan Lucero, and this was 580 Sports Talk. Adios!